We're live now. Cool.
Ooh la la. Oh,
All right. So we are live. Welcome everyone to another episode of Serious Banter. Today is November 10, 2020. Actually today's my firstborn's birthday. My first daughter's birthday. Yeah, she turned 3 today.
Happy birthday to her.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Casey.
This is you.
This is me. Your Secretary of State is trying to steal your election.
Well, calm down, man.
I'm no longer American. Can you see? I cannot be stressing myself.
Me and I have been following each other for a while, but we've actually never met.
Never met.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Great to see you.
Great to see you as
So
well.
what should we call you? Kumi or Casey?
Kumi or Casey, any. I don't mind. People call me Casey.
Okay, Kumi.
Casey,
How are we raising Moms's? How are we raising funds for Moms's debt?
Mom, everyone. You want £1,000 you owe me.
She owes you £1,000.
Yes.
Wow.
She's here and she shouted.
Mommy and Salvo.
She said, Mommy and Salvo, pay me my money.
And you're my dad for mommy.
Did you hear that?
You're my dad for mommy.
Mommy and Salvo, ye jegbesi.
Eh? I'm not sorry, you are uncle before.
Casey, no book could be in
Mom, you know
trouble.
this is on Twitter, so you might. No.
All right, so I guess we can get started.
Yeah.
Welcome to our post-election show. It feels like the results were, I guess the projection was made on Saturday, and it feels like a moon ago. Like I'm exhausted. Part of it was that I've been a nuisance. I've been. I didn't want to embarrass Justin because I was gonna do some things on the show. Where did Justin go? I was gonna do some things on the show today, but
Another village
it'll be
hall.
back. It'll be back. Sometimes the internet is messed up. When he comes back, so I'll get his thoughts and then we'll kind of. Hey, Casey, are you logged in twice?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Oh my God, this is terrible. Okay, that's fine. I was trying to get a clearer view.
Before we get going, Casey, why are you no longer in America?
Because your country is. I'm fine being British, being Nigerian as well.
Don't worry.
You see,
Don't worry.
I
Your own
actually
team
envy
coming.
you, Casey, because my two countries have run mad.
What did you say?
I
Is
said
UK
I actually
that bad?
envy you, Casey. You actually have a third country. My two countries have run mad.
Hey,
The UK is
UK.
on the brink of collapsing as well. No, I'm joking. The UK will be fine.
Are you sure?
UK will be okay. We'll just not be a global power anymore. That's for sure.
That sounds like a one guy
We're
the
no
lag.
longer a global power. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, we can hear you. So I guess we could get started and we'll have Justin join us as we go. So what are you guys' thoughts? First, I'll let me give you my thoughts about the election. I called it a long time ago. Election night, I was scared as hell. Election day, I was scared. I wasn't that scared leading up to the election, but I was scared on the election. I don't know, I was scared, even though I called it. You know, sometimes you hear so much stuff too much, you start to believe it. Because I heard too many, Trump will win. Especially, I'm trying to be nice today, but I'm not. Especially idiots from Nigeria. So, so I heard a lot of he'll win, and people would just say stuff without context, and I was getting furious. But I was just like, let me just calm down. Let's see the result, and then the results started trickling in, and it just took me back to 2016. Everything just looked like 2016 again. Everything. Yes, we had been warned by Bernie Sanders and others that there'll be a red mirage. Even here, we discussed it on the show last week. There'll be a red mirage, and that because of mail-in ballot, which will come late, which some of the Republicans did not allow to be counted earlier. So, there's a possibility that Trump was leading heavily, and then as trickling. But I just wasn't convinced till I think Wisconsin was the first one, and I saw it live. I was monitoring stuff on Politico, and I saw it live. I saw it flip live. I was like, "Oh, okay." And then things started changing. Things started changing, and then the next day, at first I was offline for a while. People thought I was being a coward. Maybe part I was, but part I really wasn't, because I didn't just want people to make me lose my mind online. So I just wanted to just wait things out and see how things were going. Next day, I promised I won't comment, but that promise lasted about 5 minutes. And since then, I've been a nuisance about this whole thing. and then now these guys are trying to scare us, but there's really nothing they can do. The election is over. Results will keep getting bigger and away from their favor, from their candidate, and whether they like it or not, they're gone. But all of what they are doing might even be a lot more worse than them losing, because it's doing a lot of damage. It's doing a lot of damage to the transition. It's doing a lot of damage to U.S. standing in the globe. It's doing a lot of damage to other democracies looking at the U.S. as an example. And someone gave a comment before we just came on that it will embolden, especially in Africa, where democracy is already on a wobbly leg. So almost these leaders will see this and like, if U.S. can do this, why not? You have a Secretary of State saying that there'll be a smooth transition to a presidency that was defeated at the ballot box. So it's a mix of emotions, up and down. But hopefully today we're able to talk about the election itself, the results, where people really think about it. Then we'll move straight to a certain agenda, what we expect, especially from an Africa and Africa diaspora perspective. I'll be talking about some of Joe's plans for Africa diaspora as we move along. And so that'll be very interesting for us to discuss. But before we get full throttle into it, Justin is back. So Justin, because you asked a lot of really interesting questions on Tuesday. So I'm sure that some clarity, some fuzziness, some interesting revelations have happened since then. But can you give us your open monologue into what you expect for today, and your general thoughts on the election, and then we can get our guests in and we can get moving. We're expecting a lot more people to come in as we move on. It's an open invite, so if you're a Republican, if you're
a Republican, I'm joking.
Conservative, if you're independent, please join. If you're a Trumpist, I would say don't join just for your own sake, just to help you out. If you're a troll, I'll say don't join. But if you want to join, fine. Anyhow you want it, you day for ground. We'll have a conversation with you. But
nice.
Anyone is free to join, and let's have a constructive conversation. Justin, how you doing?
Well, it's not that you're building walls and putting up immigration policies against Trump supporters. Yeah, I actually want to have a conversation with one. I said, curiosity killed the cat. I'm curious. There's something I need to understand about that perspective to things.
Justin wants to have a conversation with someone with a cardboard brain. Very interesting.
Anybody that everybody has managed to bring us to a place where somebody like me can be panting and saying, "Oh, America is a technologically developed third world country," deserves some attention. I mean, we need to look at how you're seeing this thing, bro or sister. This thing you people are looking at. How I'm curious. I mean, sort of repeating myself all over again. So yeah, last week I had questions. Unfortunately, I got a call and I couldn't. My mother called and I had to go take care of that call, and I jumped off. And so it's playing out, and I'm just having a lot of wow moments. Okay, so this thing can happen. So
okay, so now they do.
So last week, you remember I cracked a joke about very soon we start seeing people running with ballot boxes. Well, we more or less saw people running with ballot boxes because I saw people outside the collation center with guns trying to break in. I'm like, see it now.
So, there's a book by an author called Sinclair Lewis. It's called "It Can't Happen Here," and it's essentially, if I understand correctly, it is a dystopian view of Nazism taking root in America and us thinking it couldn't happen here, but it could happen. And he detailed all the things that happens when all the things that we have taken for granted, all the norms, all the conventions that we have taken for granted, get shoved aside, right? And that's essentially how nations fail, and how empires fall.
Yeah.
So up until 20 minutes ago, I was very happy. I was exceedingly happy because as far as I'm concerned, all what we have been seeing from Trump, all his tweets are just noise. And, Mitch McConnell not officially recognizing Biden yet and all that, that's just games. But to hear a sitting Secretary of State...
It's games too. It's just shocking.
I don't think so.
Wait. He's not joking.
I didn't say joke. I said games. I said games too.
No. So some things are beyond the pale, right? Because wait, let me finish, brother. The State Department is on a whole different level, man. Right? This is a department where if what's going on, I tweeted this earlier today, if what we are seeing in America today was happening in a developing country, the UN would have been sending an envoy to go sort the situation out, as the US President and Secretary of State would be threatening US sanctions. If what was happening now was happening in our own Nigeria.
Stop right there, please. Don't
talk about some with respect.
Please. All of us are in the same WhatsApp group. All of us are in the same WhatsApp group. This is not a hypothetical situation, Kingsley. This is happening. This is your
living reality. That's what I'm saying now, Justin. That's what I'm saying.
All of us are in the same WhatsApp.
I don't know why Nigeria triggered you.
No,
I am saying
maybe you're saying if what was happening in America was happening on Mars, so those developed planets.
I'm just saying, now, calm down, Farabale. Wait now.
Don't use us as an example, please. We are very. Our results come out, even if we rigged. At least we announce the results.
And the winner gets certified the next day.
Yes. Orurebe can stand up and shout, and we will not take it, we will not take it, but we'll all move on. Our president will make the call and say, my no ambition is what the blood of Nigerians. I will hand over.
Exactly.
you mentioned
We can
Nigeria.
finish venting. You can go on.
Justin, to your point, right? That is why I am not taking this as a joke.
It's not a joke.
Because for the Secretary of State to stand in Foggy Bottom and say that, guy, as I tweeted a few minutes ago, clearly I have some words, but I said I have no words, but I am officially afraid. I've never.
Can I come here?
I'm officially afraid.
You know what I think is happening to people on the liberal side? So the U's and the Bolas and the Cases. There is this, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just calling it as I see it. You consistently underestimate the capacity of your president to dismantle the instruments of state. So
it's not that we underestimate it. And by the way, I don't want to dominate the conversation. Casey's here, she should say something too. Right. It's not that we underestimate it. What's going on is that a lot of things in America are actually not codified. Okay. We have relied on
conventions
and convention since 1776. Okay. Right. I remember.
You people are looking at this thing from one end.
Yeah. So
Code also enters FBI and CIA. Somebody wake up tomorrow,
we have been
dead or missing. It's not on the
today
code.
Is the anniversary of when Barack Obama hosted Donald Trump in the White House after he had won. I remember when he won and Hillary conceded, Barack Obama went out in front of the White House and said, "This is an intramural, right? We may not like it, but this is what has happened." And
it is what it is.
So what we are seeing is he didn't have to do that. He doesn't have to invite him over, but all these things have not been codified. We are relying on norms, and we are watching all those norms being dismantled. That's what's going on. Let me keep quiet for a bit.
So that's exactly what I'm saying.
Hold on, Justin. So, this is Kwami's first time on the show.
Case is in shock. You allow Case. I say Case is in shock.
She's not in shock. She's not in shock. She's just waiting for her time.
I'm about to rant for like a good 20 minutes.
Please.
Nothing
the mic is yours. So okay.
You have the floor.
But introduce yourself so people can get to know you a little bit.
What do I have to say?
I know you spent some time in America, so talk to us about that and now where you're at now. Yeah, you can't really start from your history. Sorry.
Sorry. I'm a British citizen. I live in London. I don't know what goes on in America. I'm just a watcher of the chaotic system.
You see how life is, real quick.
Really good.
Real quick. You don't know America.
Such governments. So no. So I really enjoy politics. I did politics as a first degree. And I'm a lawyer.
Where did you go to school?
I went to school in the UK.
I thought you were going to say America.
Did you study PPE?
Did I what?
Did you study PPE?
No, I did politics and international relations. I wanted to do PPE, but I missed my grades.
All good.
Yeah. So that's what I do. America is very much part of my life. So what's my opinion on all this? I'm scared. I'm worried for America. They're just bringing up different things. So, like, I don't know if you guys have seen the argument for the increased turnout in the election. That's also pretty scary. Basically saying Black people did not come to vote, and that's just voter fraud. Obviously, we all knew Trump was not going to go quietly, but what Pompeo said today was just I don't know.
Let's not say we won an election, so let's not all put the whole moment. Start from the beginning. How do you feel about it? About the
election day. When Florida came in and Miami did, people were panicking, and I was just like, "Who put Florida? Who told you like Biden was going to win Florida?" Like, people were so shocked he didn't win Florida, and I knew he wasn't going to win Florida because we already saw the Hispanic number was very low, so I wasn't expecting Florida. Also, we were also one that we're going to see people who voted Republican first before like the mail-in ballots, which heavily favored Democrats were going to come. So I wasn't scared. I remember when you said it's over, and I was just like, what is over? I was pretty confident at that point. I was just like, guys, just chill. Like, everybody was already like,
who said it's over? Kingsley, right?
Yeah, he said it was over.
Kingsley, I heard there was a meltdown on election night on your Twitter page.
There was.
When Kumi is done, and if Justice don't have any question, report yourself. But don't wait, let Kumi finish. Let Kumi finish. Report yourself. There's time for you to report yourself. Don't worry.
So at 3 a.m., like I remember everyone, like we were all watching it, and everyone in my house was having like a literal meltdown. And I was just like, "What is wrong with you people? They warned you exactly how this election was going to happen. Like, just chill. Like, Florida is gone, Texas is going to go." And I was just like, and then I think AP then called Arizona, and I was just like, "Guys, just farabalẹ̀.
Relax.
Just wait." And then I think after that, I went to bed. I was just like, "This is not ending tonight. We go again." But I would say I had a panic attack on like Wednesday morning when we were down in Michigan. And I was just like, okay, if we don't win this, because I had Michigan down for Biden to win. So I was already worried. I was not looking for how we're gonna, Nevada was also looking quite tricky at that point. I was just like, But
Nevada was typing.
What'd you say?
I said Nevada was typing.
Yeah, like overall, I wasn't that scared. I thought Biden was going to win it, but I didn't know how many electoral college he was going to win. So yeah, that was election day for me.
All right.
And then we were waiting for
okay, go ahead.
So you know what's funny is that I was one that even fell my own hand because no, seriously. Because I was
yo Justin, I heard Kingsley lost it. I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys follow each other on Twitter.
Wait.
Maybe you need to follow it, but I heard it was bad. People were reporting him to me the next day.
Calm down. You cannot make fun of me more than I'll make fun of myself right now.
All right.
So it's funny because I was even the one that tweeted a few days before the election that we will have election week. Casey, you may remember that.
I remember that.
But I have to say, there is something about seeing such a swath of votes come in seriously against your candidate. And I'll be like, what is going on? Because even though I knew that the election day vote would would favor Trump, it was such a big gap that I thought, are we really about to lose this thing? So that was when I started losing it, right? Like you, Casey, I didn't expect us to win Florida. That was gone. But when I saw Michigan, Trump ahead, Pennsylvania, Trump ahead, and by the way, even my map didn't even have us winning Pennsylvania. Right?
Oh, I had us winning that.
Yeah. So my map was Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, and Wisconsin. In addition to all 2016 states, right? To get us to 273. That was my map, right? But when I saw that Michigan was doing like this, I said, that was when I started losing it. But I stayed on till about 3 a.m. that night. And when I saw the AP call Arizona, that was when I now heaved a sigh of relief.
Thank you, Zika. Biden is from Scranton, and so Pennsylvania was never, ever, ever in doubt in my mind.
Wait. When
I was so not in doubt of Pennsylvania at all.
when I saw Arizona called, that was when I said, okay, I see. I now see what.
I remember you started reworking. You was like, if we win this, if we win that, I was
exactly. Okay, I now see. Okay, maybe this thing is happening after all. Because bear in mind that preceding election day, we had gotten reports that minority turnout was low, and in addition, for even the states that were doing mail-in ballots, that the turn-in rate in Pennsylvania specifically was low for minorities. So I was saying,
how did that turn out? Was that true?
It turned out not to be true. It turned out not to be true. But those were the reports I had. So that plus seeing what was going on election night was making me think, we may be losing this thing, right? But following that, obviously, by morning, it was clear that Biden was on
Thanks
track.
to give us the gist of what you were writing, the type of things you were writing on your Twitter. Please, that's what I want to hear.
It was over.
I don't delete tweets unless there is disinformation or a bad typographical error. Everything is there. You can see it. It's all there. I did have an election night meltdown. But and by the way, shout out to Joachim, who was, and Editi. They were the ones that said, "Guy, chill. This thing is not over." So shout out to these two guys, right? But the following day was when I came and I realized, okay, I see what's going on. As we predicted, it will be election week, right? And the votes came rolling in, culminating in Saturday when the networks called it. So I've reported myself.
Justin, how did you feel like as the whole thing was going on? Because I know you sent me some messages. I'm not sure if you slept or if you were going in and out of sleep. Because what happened was I slept because I wasn't feeling too good, and then woke up because my wife was traveling. Like she left the house like 4 a.m. or something on a vacation. So I woke up around 1, 2, and I just stayed up through the whole night. So I started getting a lot more of the good news to the middle of that while everyone was sleeping. But just now, from Nigeria perspective, for being in Nigeria and the difference in time zones and everything, I kind of walk us through what was going through your mind as well.
Well, as you know, I mean, we back home here, we're dealing with our own kettle of fish. So I had divided attentions. I stayed up for a while, but of course, American elections have always been a marathon affair. I think that it's going to be over in the morning, right?
Except candidates Barack Obama. Except it's Barack Obama.
You know, so I knew this was going to be like okra soup. It was going to be drawn out. You know? So I was following, but honestly speaking, my mind has been more around the shenanigans of our own version of Trump around here, and the things that have been going on. But I also knew that, again, based on the candidates had pitched themselves to their constituents or to their base, that we were going to see a sea of red for starters, because most of the people who were going to come out on election day were clearly Republicans, and we're going to count those first, and those were the first reports we were going to see. And then Democrats had done, all you early voters, the mail-in ballots were going to be counted later. So I really wasn't feeling any type of way when I was seeing the initial result coming out, leaning Republican. But I had my eyes on Twitter and on the narratives that were being bandied from the right side. And I knew that this was going to be a setup in the sense that there's a reason why this guy went to court, or how did he do it, whether it was easy or whatever, stopped the mail-in ballots from being counted when they started coming in. That happened, right? To reconfirm. Those ballots could have been counted.
They didn't want them to do it before election day.
Yeah. So
before election day, exactly.
As well, which is what they did in Florida.
Yeah. So some states had planned, like Florida. The reason why we knew the results in Florida so quickly was because they were, and even Texas, is that they were counting the mail-in ballot ahead and simultaneously with the day of ballots. So all those results are being reported in real time. The Pennsylvania one, they said they could not start counting until election day itself. And it was actually the Republicans that sued for that to happen. And so it's very interesting that they sued to have that happen. And then when it now happened and it resulted in them losing, they are now trying to discredit the validity of those ballots.
Yeah, but that was the game. That was always the plan, exactly.
I think that's always been that plan.
That's always that he was always pushing.
But I also don't think they were expecting I don't think they were expecting a big jump. I don't think they were expecting a big gap. So it's easy to say, okay, if it's like maybe like 5,000 difference or stuff, they can find ways to go about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how you go to court. It's like Michigan now, you lost by 100,000 votes. You go to court and court say, okay, all the early ballots, 500,000, cancel it. I'm trying to see. There's nothing that can happen in America, but I want to see it.
Even in Pennsylvania, it's gone up to 47,483, and they didn't count the ballots
that arrived after.
Yeah, they've segregated those ones. So like, really, you might want to try Georgia.
So I'm going to ask one of those my questions. I'm going to ask one of those my questions again. Given what we've seen in the past week, given what we've seen in the past 4 years,
see my answer to your question.
given everything that we know right now, right? What do you when I asked this question the first time on the show, and I was talking with
nothing.
Everybody's take was, listen, there is a tradition. Come January 20th, there was that vibe there was that jibe about imposters in the White House or trespassers in the White House.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's what leads me to say what I said there on, and this is not speaking to you guys, because we're speaking generally about the sentiment among the Democratic left in America, that you seem to be not understanding what's happening.
I have an issue with this left thing there. Not everybody.
That's how you could describe yourself.
I don't think everyone.
That's how
Democrats. Sorry.
That's how partisans say that.
No, Democrats now.
A lot of people are not.
Wait, calm down.
A lot of people.
Sorry, I'm referring to Democrats.
Any party.
No, okay.
Some just want to
voted for Biden.
What are you saying?
Thank you. See why I like talking to Kingsley. You allow me to talk, not that clown that is drinking Republican tears. So what will happen come
today's one is extra salty.
It's extra salty, I mean. What happened January 20th? Yeah?
He's going.
If this guy, in case he comes down, you just heard Pompeo. This is first salvo. This is just a shot across the bow. This is putting you on notice, right?
Yeah.
You just heard Pompeo. Now imagine with me that whoever is the new head of who's the guy they fired? The new defense secretary, right?
Who's
the guy they fired?
Marcus,
right? So we don't know who his replacement is going to be yet.
He already has a replacement.
His name is Chris Miller. They just got him from the ballot. Put him there.
So what they do is they don't really hire people. They don't hire people because confirmation.
So the point I'm making is
acting Secretary of Defense.
Okay, good. So you know where your Secretary of State stands today.
Mm-hmm.
You have a new defense secretary as of today. You don't know where he stands, but we can guess. You know where
he has already said he's not.
You know where your Attorney General stands today, right? Because whereby it's going to lean is anybody's. We can tell. Right? Now, when you take the key heads of the government infrastructure, and assuming this were a chessboard and we decide to play some Queen's Gambit with it, and you see where the pieces are stacked. If come January 20th, this guy puts you guys on check, what's your next move?
Okay. One question. If he loses all these court cases, he's going.
Exactly.
He's going. They're going to
If
drag
he
him out. If he wins, that's when there's a different whatever. But for now, I don't see how he's going to win.
Yeah.
That's just me. It's possible. I'm not denying it. I'm not denying they're going to cook up something. I'm not even denying it. But in terms of legal arguments going on right now, there's really nothing. But I don't deny that they can find something. And because they're all crooks, all his followers are crooks, and they're cults. That doesn't mean they can't.
Every time you guys have said he can't do that, he ends up doing it. That's my problem.
No, I didn't say he cannot do it. So he can do it.
He can't do it. It's not that he can't do it. It's about what will be the result. So there are two things in motion, right? Number one is the certification of the results, right? The result. So the Republicans are right in one thing, which is that the media does not choose who the president is. But the fact is that throughout our history, the media has projected who won the election. Okay?
Joe Biden's favorite person.
Right. He has projected who won the election. After now projecting who won the election, the states have to certify
the process has to go on. Yeah.
The process has to go on. Now, parallel to that,
please, if you have a background noise, please turn it down or something. So
can I turn off the TV?
I'm watching Joe Biden is on TV. I'm sorry. Let me turn it off.
So parallel to the certification of results are any legal challenges that the Trump campaign would want to raise. Okay, now those challenges can have different effects. He could be saying, "Oh, we want to put aside any mail-in ballots that came in after a certain date, as is the case in Pennsylvania." Even if they do that, it still won't change the results. He could say, "We want to do a recount in Georgia and Wisconsin." When you look at the margin in Wisconsin, and especially in Wisconsin, right? A recount, even the former governor of Wisconsin, a Republican, said, "Hey, at over 20,000, you are not going to get much going back your way."
They didn't even drop the money for that. They
Right.
didn't pay for the recount.
They haven't even paid for it, right? Because they are responsible for paying for the recount.
They don't have money now.
In Georgia,
I honestly don't think we can troll them, but I honestly don't think raising that money is going to be a problem. He has 70-something million people that raise that money.
Justin, wait.
But how come
in Georgia, even if they do a recount or they file or something, because I think Georgia has the lowest margin. I can't remember what the latest.
Yeah, it does. It's 10,000.
Thank you.
It's not that low anymore. It's 12,000.
Yeah, 4,500.
Even if for some reason they managed to overturn Georgia, congratulations, you've won Georgia, but you have still lost the election because all the other states are still ahead. So those things are just not going to happen. Now, after the results have been certified, the Electoral College must meet, right? Around December 15th or so, right? One that some Republicans have been musing about is
bad faith electors.
Faithless electors, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what?
The Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court in July of this year ruled that faithless electors are unconstitutional. They must
vote according to
what was voted in the vote, right?
That one itself, I don't even understand why that process is. It's almost like they just want to dash people money for
so
code.
I think what's going on right now, right, is that, to your point, Bola, a lot of lawyers are just getting rich off Donald Trump to the extent they can, right? That's number one. But what is just hurtful?
Election money is free to forget.
What is just hurtful?
Forget what you heard. Election money is the way any continent you are in.
once the
somebody is
electoral
very
college meets and everything is clear, right? On January 20th at 12 noon exactly, right? He will cease to be president. It's just that it's clear that we are not going to have a smooth transition. That's just the situation.
Okay,
All right, let me come in real quick.
Sorry,
and then let's get
sorry,
Kenneth
but
in. Well, no, Justin, wait. You have to pack it. No, Justin, we can't continue prolonging this matter. We have to pack down for 1 second. No, my answer is no. If you like to spoil America, January 21 is going. Anyways,
He's frozen. He means this. He doesn't care.
They got to him.
Wait, what?
Bola is frozen. They hacked him.
Bola, bye.
They hacked him. So what I was going to say before the bully comes back is
yes, so you can.
So basically what you've explained is the process as should be, right?
Yeah.
Now, so what has gone awry so far is the fact that this guy is not following what the convention has been. So your assertion is that he may choose not to follow conventions, but he cannot derail the process, which is what you just walked through.
He cannot derail the process, right? But I also think, as you said, there's a game going on as well. Bear in mind, there is an election on January 5th in Georgia, right?
Elections.
The runoff.
Yeah. What the Republicans are trying to do is still keep the Republican base ginned up, because now you have to figure out how to win in a post-Trump era. Okay? And if they lose right now, there is a battle for who the heir of Donald Trump will be in the
Republican Party.
That's right. Who can wield these followers? Because the average traditional Republican cannot. And so that still comes by wanting to get the base ginned up. Okay?
Exactly, Jan. Ted Cruz is a very good
no, Ted Cruz.
You
don't like him. He's probably
he's working very hard to be the new Trump. That's
he's not going to get it.
I think it's between Tom Cotton and
collectively
Tom Cotton and Josh Hawley.
Listen,
they can't stop him.
Guys, wait.
Said that if Ted Cruz was tried on the floor of the Senate for murder, everybody will vote to right?
I beg, that one has changed now. Lindsey Graham is worse than Ted Cruz now. So things change. Please, let's get Kenny to give us his opinion.
It's not Ted Cruz. Kenny,
wait now, Kingsley, wait.
Oh, is that Kumi Coca?
It is Kumi Coca.
Oh, nice to meet you. Our Biden. I have to first congratulate.
Can I please jump in, please?
Okay.
Talk.
I have to first congratulate Bola and where's Damo? People that were only 3 of us were campaigning for Biden. I missed the insults from the Benny fans, but thank God.
We need to discuss them afterwards. That's a topic.
Yes, that's a topic.
Now for you, Kenny. These people are now our allies now. Relax.
No. They are not our allies. No.
See the problem.
They're not our allies.
No. Forgive and forget.
I can't stand them.
Okay, let me now lay up a few things to Justin. So you're talking about the court case, right? I have looked at all the court cases and they are all ridiculous. Why do I say that?
Everything about this guy is ridiculous.
Everything. No. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why they are ridiculous, right? The case in Pennsylvania, right? They've gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court told Pennsylvania that they shouldn't take ballots that come after. They should separate ballots that come after November 3rd to 5th. The Trump campaign still took them to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court asked the Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, I don't know if you see Josh Shapiro on Twitter, and said, did you do what I said you should do? The man said, I've done it too. There are only about 3,000 ballots that came in after November 3rd that we've separated. They call it desegregation. So he doesn't know why the Trump campaign is still bringing up this issue. The second case, which is very stupid, is the issue of poll watchers. They went to court. The court asked the Trump campaign, is it that you don't have poll watchers? I said, they said they have poll watchers. They now say they want more poll watchers. And the judge was like, so if I allow you to bring more poll watchers, the Democrats will bring more poll watchers. I thought you agreed to a certain number of poll watchers. The Democrats said 2020. What else do they want? They said, no, they should make it 6 foot.
They want to shift closer.
They now said, okay, 6 foot is over. That is one. Let me go to Nevada. Now, what is their issue in Nevada, which is so dumb? Now, you see, this election has shown me that people I hold in high regards, I no longer respect them. I'm sorry. If you support Trump, I cannot hold you. Let me tell you why it's personal to me. I've told Damo, I got my green card in 2016, right? Now, if you get your green card in America, the America has one stupid rule. You must come to America every 6 months, whether you have money or not. You know what I'm talking about. So every 6 months, I was coming to America. In 2018, I wanted to get married, right? My wife's mother unfortunately died, so you had to move my wedding. In 2018, I came to America 3 times. In fact, I came to America 2 weeks before my wedding because my 6 months had reached. I spent money. Who does that? Now, my friends will tell me, oh, why do you take this thing so serious? Do I know anybody that has lost his green card? And I tell them I know one person. Who? My father. My own father lost his status. My own father. This is not somebody that goes very far. My own father lost his status. I don't want to lose my status. So after I got married, and I decided, you know what? I can't be doing this 2 years, come back. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. And I decided to move to America. Yeah, my mother is a citizen. Before then, my wife had an American visa. We came to America. So from 2018 January to 2019 January, I came to America 4 times. For what? What? Am I in the PDP or APC or anything? That's a waste of money.
Please, we can't see your face. So all light, I beg.
No, I'm in the basement. Yeah, I'm in the basement. Okay. Yes, and am I in PDP or APC or anything? Do you understand?
You are a true Biden supporter. This one you are in basement.
Yeah. we like it like that. We beat them from basement.
But, I mean,
we beat them from basement without a rally.
We beat them everywhere.
Without rallies.
So, Demo, I've told you this thing before. So when I moved in June, July, since I moved in June, July till last year, till 2020 November, I've not seen my wife. Coupled with the fact, there was a coronavirus, so he banned, there was no travel. Then the irony, I now filed for her in November. In February, the Trump administration put that nonsense, ridiculous rule about security. I don't even want to go into it. It's so stupid, but let's continue. So for 19 months, I've not seen my wife. So that's why I take it personal. I'm sorry, I might be rude, but I take it very personal because
no, I'm entirely
very personal.
I can, and I discussed this with you. I can certainly relate.
19 months.
I can certainly.
My wife came to America in January, and you know the stupid thing that when my wife went to do a renewal of her visa, they now told her.
Can I hear what you are not saying? I send you light and love and light.
Okay, so let me continue with the court cases. I've told you Nevada. What's the issue in Nevada? Nevada is so stupid. You know why it's so stupid? The guy I'm going to give you is Twitter. Just look at him, follow him, and read the story. You'll laugh. The Nevada GOP says that voted outside the state 3,000 people. Now, Biden is gapping. So let's remove 3,000. But who are those 3,000 people?
Military
that reside in Nevada but are stationed outside. Military. So what case do they have? Arizona. They have complained about Arizona. So do you know how many ballots they are chasing in Arizona? 146. Come on. Georgia.
146,000.
No, 146 ballots. 146. Is it 160 ballots? That's what they have a problem with.
Out of a margin of how many?
Of 12,000.
Of 12,000.
10,000. 14,000. That's what they have a problem with. And meanwhile, Arizona is a state too. Now, secondly, Georgia is the one that makes me laugh. First of all, Demo and Bola, you do realize that I didn't put Georgia in my column. I thought it was red and North Carolina. I'm okay with Arizona and the rest. I'm okay, but Georgia, Biden did not even When Biden was going to Georgia, I was complaining that why is this man going to Georgia? What is it a waste of? I was so angry, like, what the hell is this man doing? What are you going to Georgia to do? Well, for what? Go to Pennsylvania and die there. Go to Michigan, die. Go to Wisconsin, die there. What are you going to Georgia? Are you stupid? What? I was insulting the man. I said, people are complaining that.
You say we many. You don't me. You say we many.
No,
people are
see what I'm saying to you guys. I agree with everything you're saying. This is what I told Bola some time ago off the show. I was like, but one of the big problems I have with your disposition is you be saying these people are stupid, these people are stupid. The biggest mistake you can make is to underestimate the enormousness of your.
Let me answer you. Let me answer you.
All the things we are analyzing.
Let me answer you.
The legalities of these issues. But hold on, let me make my point. The legalities of these issues that we're analyzing are not unknown to the guys on the Republican side, right? The fact that they are raising dust and making frivolous claims in court is very well known to them. Now, my question is, what is the end game here? And I get scared when you guys dismiss it as they're stupid.
Okay. Oh yeah, make me answer now.
I don't think it's that stupid.
Allow us make me answer. Let me go first. Couple of things. Number one. So when we talk because we know what they're going to do. We are not naive. Yes. We know what they're going to do. In fact, we know in fact, they never finish. We know all what they're going to try. We know all what they're going to try. We're not naive about it. In fact, when they don't do it, we get confused. Like for example, if Don Jr. sends a tweet and say, "Oh, congratulations, Biden," I'm like, "Did they use his phone? What's happening?" We expect all of this. What I'm confident in is that they don't own America. They can misuse their power, but their power has an expiration date. It has an expiration date. They can kick, they can scream, they can do all. But now, one thing I would say, like I said, bigger than them, than us beating them, is that all of what they're doing to democracy is dangerous because it affects a lot of things. It even affects the transition. There are 4,000 appointments that need to be made. This transition thing is not just, it's school, now you're president school. It's real work. Because think about America. Think about January 20, there's going to be a new government. Please. I think someone else is listening from something else.
Sorry, so I increased the volume.
Think about America. Think about 100 Facebooks are changing CEOs and they have a set date. It's real work, and it also costs money for them to do that work. So they are going to hinder all of those things. Yes, we will take it. But at a point that it's like we're in a boxing match, we will take all your punches to the end of the fight. Bye-bye, carry your wallet and go. We know all the things like that. You've not even seen frivolities. They've not started. They are also playing another game. They want to keep this going so they can keep raising money. They are owing money. They need to keep. No, I didn't make anything up now. I didn't make anything up. They are owing money. They need to keep raising money. They are going to see. One thing we should have learned in these 4 years is that they know signaling very well, and we ourselves should be trained. Our eyes and ears should be trained to their signaling already. They know how to say stop. Like Pompeo, I'm concerned about what he said, but I can tell you that
you say you're joking.
They know how they do that thing where they'll say it. And they'll, look at them, all of them will be foaming in the mouth now. All of them will be going crazy. They do it on purpose. They do it. Before I used to be like, is this how they think? Then I realized that they actually do it on purpose. They do it on purpose. They know it will dominate the news cycle. Everybody will be dry and they just be laughing at everyone. It's okay. However you want to do it.
So are they doing it for kicks? What's the end game?
They have a base that responds to stuff like that. They also know.
So how can they leverage that base? So right now I'm being genuinely curious.
Money, and also They need to keep that thing long. You already heard that the guy is going to run in 2024. And if he doesn't run, there's also another important part that people need to understand.
Casey, you're mute.
There's an important part that people need to understand.
I said he's not running anything.
But that's not even the most important thing. See, Trump is one thing, entity. His base is another entity. And the Republican Party is a different entity. Republican Party, even though they'll come out and they will not act like it, they need his base. So whatever that will keep them going, everybody else is okay to keep it going.
Well, like I said a few minutes ago, right? There is a battle right now for who the heir of Trump is for the Republican Party. Okay, we need to know who can wield that base, who can manage that base, and that's what a lot of this is about. And also, you want to figure out how to keep that base all ginned up for January 5th.
5th, yeah.
But they are making a mistake with January 5th, in my opinion, because if you see what Stacey Abrams and them have already done in like 3 days.
I am very bullish on January 5th. But my point is
3 days.
That what they are not calculating or not taking into account is that it's not only their base that knows how to be ginned up. Okay? But by doing this, they are also pissing off a lot of the Democratic base who now want to make, especially after seeing that we did not win a lot of Senate races.
Yeah.
No, it's do or die now. It's do or die.
Now it's do or die. Yeah.
Okay, so we have two new guests that came in, Shei and Yomi. Yomi.
Hi, Yomi.
I know you have a lot of.
Hi, Yomi.
I know your bullet has been your whole stuff for a long time.
Yeah, you guys were actually starting the Bernie slander there for a second, right? There was no Bernieite on the call, and I was hearing it on the YouTube channel. You guys were talking about Bernie. Like, what's the issue with Bernie? I'm really, really curious. Like, what's your problem with Bernie right now?
I know we have no problem.
I don't have any problem.
With Bernie. I have a problem with the progressives.
No,
let me finish. Let me finish.
It's a progressive party, right? Hang on.
Yeah?
Is it a progressive party?
No. I don't have a problem with the progressive. I have a problem with Bernie.
No, I have no problem with Bernie. Bernie did well. I have a problem with the progressives. Now, let me tell you why.
Justin, sit back and relax.
It's going to be a long night.
Relax.
I am a centrist. I am an independent, but I lean towards Democrats. My mother is an independent, but she leans towards Democrats. Now, you have to identify the politics each state plays. You cannot be in New York with a Democratic plus 50 district and be comparing yourself in Pennsylvania with a Republican plus 3 districts. What does that mean? It means that you have to be very cautious with the kind of things you say, because no matter what you do,
stop laughing.
Those candidates will be tagged. And I'll give you 2 examples. Donna Shalalala and Demi McCarthy in Florida. Donna Shalalala has no business losing her election. She has no business.
Okay.
That's a district Clinton won. What did they do to her? They just took AOC's picture, video, socialism, defund the police, and that was the end. Let me now give you a classical example. Kara Eastman in Nebraska 02. What happened to her? They told Kara Eastman, a progressive cannot win this district. She was making noise. Biden endorsed her. The progressives were fighting for her. What happened in the election? Remember, Trump went to Omaha. He went to Omaha to campaign for one electoral vote. What happened? Biden beat him with some points, but Kara Eastman lost. How do you explain that? Should I continue? Let me go. Let me go to Max Rose. Max Rose and Anthony Brindisi of New York. Max Rose is from New York, Staten Island. Why did he lose? It was so easy to tag him with the AOC people that cannot keep their mouth shut. Damn it, man. 7, 8 seats.
Mute. Wait. Can I mute? Just mute. No, don't mute. I want to see your mute button. If I can mute it.
Let me give you a No. If you watch the interview of AOC on Sunday, she did not say you should go and use a template from New York in any state. She says run your race in your state and define yourself. I'm very vividly remember 2010 after Obamacare passed, right? And they had the whole debt panels thing. Democrats ran because they are bad at their job. They were unable to define themselves, and they let Republicans define them. because these are a bunch of people that do this job who cannot talk to people. They can't knock on anybody's door and talk to the people in their district and tell them what they stand for. You think elections are won because some consultant gives you $2 million to run an ad in your district. Who's watching TV? Nobody's watching TV. Nobody's watching TV right now. Like, you have a district and people are defining you outside of your district, but you live there. You represent them. You have offices in your district. You knock on doors on weekends, I hope. You go to PTA meetings in the neighborhood, right? You are at the grocery store, outside Kroger or whatever, on a Saturday afternoon, shaking hands and talking to people. I would hope you're doing that. If that's not your idea of politics, then why are you in this game? If you can't do that job, why are you in this game? Donna Shalali, you're talking about, look at that old ass. Do you think she can actually knock on anybody's door right now? I'm going to be very. No. I will be. I will be very. Hang on.
You had me. You got into ageism.
I know.
No, guys, allow him now. Guys, allow him now.
Hold on. No.
So the way I want this to work, the way I want this to work, I want everyone to have their own time to talk. See anything they want to say.
I appreciate that.
Allow him.
So we had this conversation about ageism before, and I do believe at some point you have to look ahead and be like, I'm no longer poised to play the game, the way the game is played, and you step aside because the game has changed. Now,
but Bernie Sanders is your man.
No, hold on. So funny enough, if you think I'm a Bernie fan, I'm not. I'm a progressive. I'm a Warren fan, right? In 20, I like Bernie because I think he's a decent person. I think what you have to look at is, what are they fighting for, right? What's Bernie fighting for? What policies is he looking to do? What's the end goal of what he's trying to do? He's a decent person, and I will not allow anybody to call a decent person a bad person just because you don't like their tactics or whatever. This is a decent man his whole life, someone that really cares about people. So back to the point of
Shay, hold on, you're next. You're next.
But Bernie Sanders supporters called Biden a creep.
Hold on. People if you're extremely online, you have to have a thick skin. People say things online that they will never say in your face. That's life. You're on Twitter. If you can't handle that heat, then get off. People online are a lot more vile than they will be in real life. Even Kamala supporters, even some resistance people also are very vile people online. So I don't use online supporters to judge anybody, but the only time you've ever seen them judge anybody was Bernie. They don't judge the K-Hive when they go after people and they're like the Beehive. The Beehive is a really bad group of people, but the K-Hive is just similar, right? They are vile.
No, I won't say that.
No, they are. No. I will find it. If you want to find examples, you can find examples of everybody's online supporters who are toxic, right? You will find that. Now, will you say that some of Bernie's supporters are extremely more toxic because they are just on the fringe end of things and they've tuned out of politics and they're cynical? Absolutely. Why are they cynical? Why do they tune out? Do you care? So back to your point of races, right? You can go to Randall Ruffin in Alabama, Birmingham. The largest city in Alabama is run by progressive. The largest city in Mississippi is ran by progressive.
It's like that across the country.
I know these labels don't mean anything. Go run your race, define yourself. Katie Porter is in the district that she should not be winning. It seems like, oh, it's easy. She's winning that district. She's making it look easy, but she's good at her job. That the other guys are just bad at their job.
Okay, Yomi. Guys, wait. Before we go to Shay, I've heard your rants, but you still have to tell us about the election itself. What do you feel about the election? How do you feel election night? What were the emotions running through your head? Just give us a little, 1 minute synopsis about the whole thing that's happened so far.
It will shock you that in 2016 I was dejected. I diss Hillary all the time online, but I was dejected because I care about actual progress, whether it's Hillary, whether it's anybody. I was super dejected. I was really sad. On Tuesday, I kind of knew who was going to win. I actually drank my own champagne on Tuesday night. I knew the man already won. It was just a question of how.
No, he's not lying. No, he's serious.
It was just a question. He has been
saying blowout for a long time.
I put money on it, like guaranteed. And when it was 3x, I put some more money on it again. Like it was so much. It was a guarantee for me that Biden was going to win. Right now, I do think the closeness of the race has to give people pause. And I'm not saying it's close by the electoral college standpoint or the popular vote standpoint, but these states, Obama won Michigan by 14 points the first time.
Obama was an outlier.
Okay, then the question is, why do we have? Should we wait for outliers all the time? Like, why can't we recreate the same magic? Why can't we find a way?
You can't recreate Obama. Obama is Obama. You have to find someone else.
Second time around against Romney, closer, but he still won by 7.
It's still Obama.
But Michigan should not be close. Wisconsin should not be close. Pennsylvania should not be close.
Those were reclaims now.
Reclaims because a bad candidate was terrible in 2016 and lost. Prior to her losing, we had not lost those states for 28.
Casey will fight with this thing you just said. Casey will not accept this thing you just said.
But you had not.
Bola, stop instigating.
But you had not lost those states in 30 years until Hillary. For 30 years, you hadn't lost those states until Hillary. So
Kingsley, hold your thought.
She was the anomaly, not Biden doing anything particularly special.
No, Biden is bigger than the Democratic Party. Sorry.
All right, can I wait? Wait.
Biden had more votes than Katie Potter and AOC in their districts. Biden had more votes than Katie Potter and AOC in their district than Ilhan Omar. He's bigger than all of them. So it's
all right, thank you.
Oh, please.
Jay, voice of reason. Jay, same thing. I know you have other things to chime in, but let's first walk us through the election experience and then any other thing you want to comment on.
So with the election, given that the Republican Party had sued to ensure that the election councils in each individual state did not start counting mail-in or early votes until end of voting on election day, it was very likely that for any district where the in-person votes were not heavily favoring Biden, it was going to take time. And so I was not expecting to see a result on Tuesday. After voting, I hopped off of Twitter and I shut down news and I watched movies, had delicious drinks. I went to bed early. I slept for 8 hours. It was I was refreshed. I stayed hydrated, moisturized, exfoliated. And I knew it was going to take some time. And then I checked in on Wednesday and I was like, all the debates. I was like, okay, this thing. Well, whenever they announce it. So I've been chill. And then things came along on Saturday. I'm not going to act like I had absolute confidence. But as I did my periodic check-ins, my confidence grew. And I felt, looking at the math of it, we would not know exactly what the real margins were. Like we're seeing that even since it's been called in favor of Biden, that the margins are growing, right? With both the number of electoral college votes as well as the margins on the individual battleground states. And so in the end, we will discover that maybe it really wasn't close at all. That seems to be the trend line here. But the point is that I'm not interested in the horse race aspect of things. I don't watch cable. I do not watch television news. So all you people who are like, oh my God, John King is so good at his job. Watch how he's walking this board. Not part of my diet.
We must respect Steve Koniaki.
Sorry, what was your question?
Steve
Can I overdose on cable TV?
You could line them up before me, and I'll be like, sorry to this man. I don't know. None of them are. I'm not connected like that. I read my news. I don't watch it because I think the television news is optimized for sensation, not information.
Yep.
What? Yeah, you talking too.
Busted.
I'm mute. We're not arguing about Nebraska Wolves. Anyway, that's where I was on my election night. That's how my own election experience went. not going to stress myself about it. I was just going to wait. Yeah, I do think it's fascinating, the point that's being made that Biden outperformed the party by and large. I think that's interesting. I think the conversation about Bernie and stuff is maybe, I'm a systems thinker, right? I don't really like ground level.
Would you consider yourself a progressive, or do you believe in labels?
Sort of. I'm registered independent. I lean heavily towards the Democratic Party. I classify myself as a liberal. The term progressive, I think, is unclear. I think most of this terminology is very unclear, but I'm generally aligned with anything that is designed to give people more freedoms. And of course, both parties say they're fighting for freedom, but what is freedom, especially when you look at people who have different convictions than you? So that is kind of the focusing lens of my politics.
Yeah, interesting.
But what's your conviction? Because that's a very middle of the road thing.
Your me is just
no, but I find people that don't take a stand on something to be very troubling to me.
I have very, very detailed stance. I just think that the policy banners or the labels of these groups, they're imprecise. The terminology is very open to interpretation. So if you want me to
give an example,
a line of things, for example, I believe that abortion should be safe, legal, but rare. How do you make it rare? It's not by limiting it legislatively. It's by ensuring that everything that's necessary, everything that comes before the point where people have to make the tough decision of abortion. How do you say you are anti-abortion, but you're also anti-contraception, anti-sexual health education, right? To me, those are incoherent positions. So on that issue, the party that says they are pro-life, who also tend to be, will only teach abstinence in schools, birth control should not be covered by insurance. Well, then on that, I cannot agree with you. I think you've gotten the mix wrong, right? That's the way I go down my line. I have my principles on every single issue.
So have you seen progressives? Have you seen progressives say they want to rip babies from this abort like willy nilly, or like
no?
How does that not align?
Right? I'm just saying that, look, when you say a term like progressive, what does that actually break down into, right? I think that there's a political messaging problem in America. And I think that those who are on the, quote, left, which, again, spectra are arbitrary, right? But those who are on the, quote, left do a much worse job of branding than those who are on the right. I think that they often frame the issue and the left finds itself responding. So they've already taken pro-life. What's the opposite of being pro-life? Pro-death? So now you got to come up with pro-children, right? It's just not as impactful. Some person on the street who hasn't read your website, who hasn't gone down the lines of your philosophy and doctrine in detail, they look at the slogans, they're going to go with the ones on the right, more times than not. This is a communication gap, a challenge. And I think this is consistent with the indictment of the progressives.
Yeah.
You're making this point that Bernie is a decent man. I don't think he's not a decent man.
You want me just hold on. I have a question to ask you, so just calm down.
Qualified communicator in all the ways. You cannot have one universal message for everybody, because politics is local and all politics is identity politics. So you have to meet everyone where they are. Right? So these are some of the issues where it's like, you guys can do some serious message refinement. I agree with you broadly, but I also see why you're not going to win in certain areas. I don't think that's an indictment of your philosophy, but I do think that it is a tactical gap.
All right. So I have a question for you, Ami.
Yeah.
So I see that, I see a lot of, I won't say tension, but I see a lot of things about progressivism. What is it? So please just help us in your own view. What does progressivism or progressive, however you want to say it, mean to you, or define that for us from your own lens?
Maybe I kind of rebut a little bit before I answer that question.
Okay, you can't help it. So go ahead.
Yeah, just from what you're saying, I agree with that fact. Messaging is the issue, and I think I had a conversation with you this week where I said leftists are no longer the Kucinich left. This is a very different, modern left. Dennis Kucinich was on stage saying literally the same thing as Bernie was in 2004, the debates, and 2008. And he's a kooky person, right? But now you have KT Porter, you have Elizabeth Warren, you have AOC, you have people who are willing to message this thing in a very different way. Now the issue here is, I think you guys have just aversion, and you just revolt when you just hear their name. Like,
no, I love Warren and Katie, but they're not as leftist as AOC. AOC is crazy. She puts her mouth to what doesn't get
Okay, case in point.
All right. No, disagreeing with her. All right, but the word crazy is divisive and disrespectful. Let's not do that.
Okay,
She's really competitive, and she is answering the needs of many of the people in her own.
I'm sorry.
I don't agree with her on everything, but she's starting to walk. So please.
So
allow me now. This is why I wanted to give you Yomi the floor, because I want Yomi to set the whole picture. Because me, see, I'm not going to lie to you. When I used to see you and what's his name? He has not joined yet. When he joins, I used to be like, who are these crazy people? Kingsley is talking to us today. Who are these people? Till I now started listening to what they were saying. And then, but because they've already demonized AOC and left, and that's why I hate tags, because you just want to allow people to see a road. Like, look at what Sheyi explained about pro-life and pro-choice. Look at the nuance in all of it. Oh, you say you're pro-life, but you don't like contraceptives. You're saying abstinence. Like, all of those things really come to question when you're looking at issues. Please, progressivism, I beg, explain it to us from your own lens.
So, from a progressive standpoint, you see a problem and you want to solve it. You want to solve it, and you're on the side of people over big money, over corporations always, right? That's from a progressive standpoint. You are you are looking for a fair and equitable society. Every solution to you is centered on people, centered on equity, centered on fairness, right? And that's the type of progressive I am. When we talk about, like, just to give you an example right now, we're talking about Biden's plan of a public option and Medicare for all. I am 100% on pro-Biden's platform. If his platform solves the problem, I am not tethered to any solution. If it solves the problem, then I'm happy, you're happy, everybody's happy. But I don't think it's going to solve the problem. I think it's going to take us to where I think my solution is going to work. But we'll start here. Now, the issue, we've had this conversation, Kingsley, on incrementalism. I believe in incrementalism. Like, big societies cannot do radical change at one time. The problem with Democrats is they do an incremental solution and they run away from that solution because they're scared.
Not true.
Obamacare, and they ran. I remember vividly. They ran. Debt panels. Just hold on. Okay, just give me a second. Debt panels, and they ran.
Wow.
They were in town halls, and people were screaming at them.
2010?
Oh, I was here in 2010. I was actually in the States in 2010, right? I just moved out in 2011. So in 2010, they passed the bill, and then the debt panel statement started coming out from, and then people went to their districts and they were not even answering questions, or they were not even running ads. Like, they just passed that bill. Go and do your research. You will see it. They were running ads. They were running away from this signature accomplishment that they spent a year and a half trying to pass because they're bad at messaging. Just bad at their jobs. That's the truth. So for me, if at the end of the day, Biden's plan actually works and we are able to get zero uninsured people in the US, because that's the goal, right? The goal is to make sure nobody is uninsured. But we realize that we have to do something.
Zero is a stretch, but I get your point.
No. We have that here. We have that here in Canada, right? It's zero. Everybody has insurance. In the UK, they have the same thing. Why can't you? So I worked a job. I worked a job from 2002, 2011. I used to do telemarketing on Corporate Drive in Houston. I used to telemarketing, and I could not even pay $50 co-pays for my insurance. I could not pay that. So I understand how hard it is for people to actually live their life. There are people in the States that can't afford insurance. So don't tell me that the goal should not be to have people, like everybody insured. Like, people are struggling for real. And if you care about that, your solution is to want to reach that end. Now, we can't reach that end at one point, but people are saying the public option is going to take us to the point where everybody will be insured.
But is there not to sound like a a pure capitalist like that, but it's social or economic rather than oh, let me give you insurance. Is it not okay? Let me put you in a position where you get a better job, so you can afford your own insurance.
Okay, hold on. Before you go any further, right? Because we're now in the weeds of how policy is viewed through the lens of the progressive, right? But Yomi made claims about progressivism in contrast, say, to conservatism that I think are worth interrogating, right? So you say it's about the people, and you want to ensure that everyone's situation is better. There's a need to have empathy with your interlocutor, right? Because the problem, for example, we were talking about abortion just a little while ago, and the thing that a conservative will come back to you with is that you are not considering the unborn as a party in this
as an individual.
Right? Now, you and I may have different ideas about when does life begin and all that stuff, but that is the way they will undermine your claim that we are considering all the involved people. So at the end of the day, it is actually a value calculus. You cannot be that absolutist in saying that, progressives consider all the people and conservatives don't. It's not that simple. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. That then percolates all the individual policy considerations. Now, before Bola goes and gets all corporatist on us, I know you're money, right? But the issue is not economic. The idea of a marketplace being the way to resolve health is absurd. It is fundamentally on its face absurd. Just like, you cannot use a marketplace to resolve homelessness. That is equally absurd. Social problems require broad interventions. You could not have used a marketplace to resolve the questions of school integration and tax theft that required the state to pass Brown versus Board of Education to resolve. Some things require governmental action. So it's important to, interrogate the claims and ensure that we're starting from the same set of claims before we then start making our arguments.
Okay, Shay, I want other people to chime in. Kingsley has been trying to talk, so Kingsley talk, but I'm coming back to you, Shay, because I have my own thoughts about what you said. But in the interest of having everybody talk, and Kingsley, we've not heard from me in a while, so prep to come and say something. But Kingsley, I know you've been trying to say something for a while.
My lord, may I?
Where do you start from?
You may.
Kingsley, where do you start from?
My lord, may I? Okay. So, I heard a lot of things from Yomi, and I'm not in the habit of quoting Ronald Reagan, but there was something Reagan said where he said it's not that our Democratic friends are wrong, it's just that they say a lot of things that are just not true. And that's exactly what happened there, right? Okay. Let's talk about progressivism to start off. Ask yourself, where did this term come from, right? And I mean the term from a modern perspective. I'm not talking about like Theodore Roosevelt, who ran the progressive movement and things like that, because that was a different brand of progressivism. The reason why we have the word progressive today, it's a cop-out. Progressives today are what liberals were
20 years ago.
Right? But unfortunately, to the point about communication, we allowed the Republicans significantly destroy and demonize the word liberal, that the word progressive had to be invented. Okay?
When you say allow, what do you mean?
I don't want to lose my train of thought. Mabinu, sorry.
Go ahead.
I really don't want to lose my train of thought. Right? It was invented as a cop-out. It was a media-tested term. Okay? And that was what happened. Now, let's talk about I'm a Democrat, right? I became a Democrat the day I heard late Mario Cuomo speak in 1992, introducing Bill Clinton to the Democratic Convention, right? I didn't understand everything he said, but I loved it. I'm like, yeah, I'm with those guys, right? What does it mean to be a Democrat or to be a progressive or a liberal or what have you? Okay. What it means, as far as I am concerned, is that regardless of your race, your gender, your ethnicity, your sexual orientation, whatever label you may have that defines you, that you have equal opportunity at success. Not equality of outcome necessarily, but equality, but equality of opportunity. Okay? Now, to certain issues, what I have found between 2016 and now is that the so-called progressive, and they've now turned liberal into a word that should be demonized as well. But the interesting thing is that we don't really have a difference on where we want to go. What we have a difference on
is how.
Right? Healthcare was mentioned, right? Therefore, Medicare for all, right? Which is essentially some kind of a single payer system, right? We are for a public option for two reasons. One, as Oluseyi said, I do not believe that economic, being wealthy or having a job should be the route to insurance. I don't believe that, right? But I also don't believe, as of right now, in completely changing the system whereby those who are fine with their corporate insurance should lose it or have to transition to something else. My view on healthcare is that if you have healthcare today and you're happy with your healthcare, keep it. If you don't have healthcare, right, your government should provide you healthcare as a right. And if you have healthcare today and you lose your healthcare because you've lost your job, and by the way, I've been there, so I take no lessons or lectures from anyone on caring for those who have never had insurance. Okay? If you lose your job and thereby lose your healthcare, the government should be able to grant you healthcare. In other words, give to those who don't have. And that's fine, right? Now, some people are saying, well, it's incrementalism versus being transformational. My view is, can we move the ball forward? I don't care, right, what term you want to put on it. My view is that, as the country says, we should form a more perfect union. You are not going to always get 100%, but let's move the ball forward. But the problem we have found is that anytime people say, okay, this is what I'm for, I want to move the ball forward, right? The demonization is, as he said, oh, you don't care, or you are not thinking big enough about the problem.
They'll call you a neoliberal shield.
Or you are not rising to the occasion. Or
did I say that?
Or you are a corporate.
No. Don't call you a neoliberal shield.
But Kingsley, did I say that today?
Did I?
No, he's not referring to. He's not talking to you.
Let me finish. Right.
Okay.
So you're speaking on behalf of progressivism.
Right. So these are the issues, right? Somebody says he's for a public option, and the person is called, oh, you are a corporate shield.
Yeah.
What
does that mean?
Right? What the hell? Right? We are for moving the ball forward. The question is which car gets it done. Right? We are for moving the ball forward.
The question is what is
forward?
Forward?
It's as simple as that. Now, the ACA covered 20 million more Americans. Okay? That's 20 million more Americans that weren't covered before. And also, for even those who had coverage, it meant that the insurance companies could no longer deny you coverage for pre-existing conditions.
Condition.
That means a lot to me personally because I know what it meant to my mom. I know what that provision meant to my mom. She couldn't get insurance before. She could now get insurance that helped her have surgery. So when people say, oh, you don't know or care about people who have not had to have insurance, I think we should calm down. Right? That's number one. Right? These are the issues. And my issue is that sometimes let us observe the nuance. Let's discuss the nuance of these things, right? It's easy to offer up slogans, but slogans are not solutions.
Oh, fucking hell.
Right? It's we can either focus on divisive slogans that divide us, or we can focus on solutions.
Okay.
And that's the issue. Now, to the issue of what happened down ballot this election, I actually am aligned with what AOC said. I am very aligned with what I think we ran a shit job down ballot. I agree entirely with her. Right? It is also true. It is also true that moderate and someone is having a phone call.
Please, put your.
Please if you're on phone call or TV or what have you.
Please be on mute. If you're not talking, please mute.
Or you're me, I don't know. Right? It is also true. It is also true that the messages of being against law and order and
socialism
and all whatnot, right, also affected some moderate plus centrist Democrats in their races. It does not negate the fact that we ran a shit race down ballot, but this is the 21st century, and messages propagate. Okay, so when Yomi says, for instance, well, run your own race in your own district. Yes, easy to say that, but there's this little thing called a phone, called a smartphone, right? And I can see what's happening in different races from me, and those messages can be used to define people in vulnerable districts. And what some moderates are saying is, hey, listen, I barely won my race. Some respected colleagues like Donna Shalala, etc., lost their race. Can we calm down and reduce the volume? I don't think they are wrong, but what is going on is organization is happening on newspapers and on Twitter. What should happen is that they should go back internally, hash these issues out internally, and decide what the direction and strategy of the party should be, not attacking each other on Twitter.
It's okay.
All right. Okay, guys, wait. Okay, everybody that wants to say something, 10 seconds.
Okay.
You have more than 10 seconds. Everyone
So I'm gonna quickly speak.
No. You're going next. I'm giving you the floor.
I just want to say something about.
No. Casey should speak now. It's her turn.
No, you should speak. 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
No, go ahead.
Kingsley, just to add to your point, I don't know if you know Dr. Cameron Webb. He ran for VA Virginia, the 6th district. It's in Virginia here. Yeah, he's a medical doctor. He served under Obama. He's also a lawyer. And I watched some of his campaigns. You know, all the campaigns he went for, all the questions they kept on asking him was, do you support defund the police? Do you support this one? Do you support? So the candidates were already on the defensive.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
So my point on that is,
wait, it's Casey's turn.
Wait, no, let your me go. 10 seconds.
He has a full breadth of the conversation next. This is just a response to you. There was not a single Democrat that actually ran on defund the police. So I don't understand what you guys. The activists, you can't control them. They're the ones on the street. Somebody died, they went on the street. If you don't want that to happen,
can I wait, please?
Talk to actual mayors to handle their police departments. Is that a hard thing to do?
But Ilhan Omar, Rashida, and AOC were always shouting defund the police.
They did not run their campaigns on defund the police.
But they promoted it.
They did not run basically, what you're saying is that everybody should just shut up and run their races the way moderate districts are running their race.
All right, guys.
Come on. Anyway, that's my point.
So before Casey goes on, we are doing the exact thing that Republicans don't do. We want an election out. We are fighting. I don't understand.
No, we lost an election. We didn't win. We lost an election. We didn't win. Seriously.
Casey, go ahead, please. You heard a lot of stuff. Go ahead.
Basically, I think, like the progressive term, I don't know where it came from. And I know it really like annoys a lot of people because it's like, does that mean I'm not progressive? But that's two facts anyway. What did I want to say? Two things. In terms of Medicare for all, I think I agree with Kingsley. I live in the UK. There's this idea that universal healthcare works and it's perfect. Majority of people who actually have very good jobs in the UK do not rely on the NHS because it doesn't work anymore. So that's just one thing, one aspect that people in America should bear.
So where do they get their healthcare from?
Private insurance. So most people get. I'm on private insurance.
So there's a private option.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I think that's what should happen in America. I don't think everyone should rely on the public health system. It does not work. We've seen this in the UK. Like, I have not stepped into an NHS hospital. I only go there for emergency because it does not work. Like, they've put in so much money. There's just something structurally wrong. It does just not work. So we need private assistance in that regard. So that's my view on that. Just because I've seen it not work in the UK.
So the reverse is what we need in the US. Private and then a public option if you need public.
Yeah,
option.
exactly. And I agree. If you don't have a job, the government should help you. I think healthcare should be socialized. Like, I think, the government should help you. So I agree with that. Yeah. I think we agree on that. And then the last thing I wanted to say about the election. Yes, like we've won an election and everyone's fighting. It's just like, what is wrong with this?
It's driving me crazy. I won't lie.
What is wrong with you people? Can't you guys just go inside the house and speak? Like, why are we fighting? Like, I don't get it.
Because we're not one set of people. I don't know. This is so shocking to everybody.
All right. Real quick. So we have Jamosa that joined. He has not said anything.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye, Casey.
Oh, bye, Casey.
All right, Jamosa, the floor is yours. I don't know if that's your real name, but
that's my nickname. My real name is James or Moral Giver. I listen to you a lot, Yomi, and you made some good points. But the truth about it is what I really picked out from what you were saying, especially Connect. That's your name, right? Connect. Labeling is really a problem when it comes to politics in America. I was listening to NPR on my way to work this morning, and the lady had three guys on her program, and she has them who they voted for. Two of them voted for Trump, one voted for Biden. So she asked them the same question. The two guys that didn't vote for Biden, she asked them the same question. What will Biden do to make you his president? To make him your president? What can he do for you to take him as your president? The first guy said nothing. Biden can do nothing, absolutely nothing. And the second guy gave
me's laughing. Me's laughing. I don't know why.
Try to do for him, and then maybe Biden will become his president. This is where I started thinking. You, as a U.S. citizen, want your government to do something for you, right? But this guy said Biden can do nothing for him. He didn't even say what he wants. Does he want Biden to kill everybody on the left? So he didn't say nothing. So to him, it doesn't matter what Biden is going to do or not going to do. He already made up his mind. Biden is not going to be his president. So to people like that, it's not about the issue. It's about the label. You are either liberal to them or you're conservative. I have a friend that sits right here in my office every day. He's a Trumper. He's Nigerian too. And I ask him, what is it that Trump is going to do for you that makes you to be a Trumper, or what has he done for you? This guy would tell me everything that he thinks about Biden and not one thing that he wants Trump to do for him. See? So that's the kind of politics that Americans play, that a lot of us get swallowed in. When we get in here, we pick a label and say, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, and then you get stuck with it. And that's how you just want to define every other thing or every other issue that comes up in election cycle. You just ask a question: are you for abortion? It doesn't matter what degree, what extent, or even what circumstances. You gotta pick. You are for or you are against. It's about label. Like you just gotta stay at a label. I refuse to stay at a label. To answer, to comment to the earlier conversation, on the day of election, I knew Biden was gonna win. Justin was scared, but I stuck to Fox News. The reason I stuck to Fox News is my dad always tell me, go to the people that you don't like when you are trying to get a decent result. If the result is bad on their side, it means it's good on the other side. So I was stuck to Fox News. They called Arizona before any other network did. And Trump don't have any reason losing Arizona, except for the fact that he just refused to make adjustment to his tone, to his hatred. Even after he became president, he had a lot of chance to come to the middle. Barack Obama lost Arizona to Mitt Romney by almost 10 points, 10%. So Republicans should be talking about why did we lose this election? And the only reason they lost it
I have a name
because
for
of
you.
Trump,
John
not
McCain.
because of anything else. But
Oh,
they
no,
scared
please don't say that.
up to him and give him the blame where the blame belongs to. His message was off point. Yeah, they're too scared. They can't give. See, when Democrats lost the midterm election in Barack Obama's first term, he took the blame, and they said, "Oh, this is where we went wrong," and they started making all plans to come to where they need to be so that he doesn't lose re-election. But Republicans were scared. They lost 2018. They didn't do nothing about it. They thought they were going to come in 2020 and then win. It was not going to happen. Yeah, it's going to get messier before it gets better. It's going to get very tense. In the next coming days, the U.S. is going to get very tense because they are going to align and say we're not going to give up power. But Justin,
You mean people are not tense yet?
I'm not.
I'm tense on your behalf.
No, I'm not. I'll tell you why I'm not tense. I'll tell you why I'm not tense, Justin. Democrats had the same issue when Hillary won. They wanted to recount many other states. They went and they were angry, but they just, like Justin always said, are not that stupid to just keep hashing on stuff. Justin, I like it when you call it out. When people are stupid, you gotta call it out, even if it doesn't mean you're calling them weak. They're not weak, but they're stupid. Sometimes they want to use that as a blind spot. You just keep saying this, So,
all right. Thanks, James.
So,
we have a lot of people here, so we need people to.
Thank you for bringing me.
Thank you. Let me make one point.
Thank
Just
you,
one
James.
point. The one point I'll make is this. 2008 was exciting. Obama came in, swept a whole bunch of states, 60 votes, overwhelming majority in the House. Rahm Emanuel did an amazing job recruiting candidates. I give him that credit, right?
That's the only credit I'll give Ram.
AOC is fighting him now. AOC is fighting him now.
Because Rahm Emanuel actually covered up the death of a black man. So you can care about that.
Rahm Emanuel is useless, man.
He's useless.
I'm not with you on that one, okay?
Yeah, Ram did what Ram did. So my issue is this. You can't complain about people defining you. This is what has happened from the beginning of time in politics. Your opponent will always try to define you. It's going to happen. Like you can't control what Republicans are going to say. They've been calling people socialists even before socialists were running, right? They've been calling Democrats anti-law enforcement even before the activists were on the street calling for defunding the police. They were calling Democrats baby killers. They were calling Democrats, they want to kill your granny. These guys are bad at messaging. They're just bad at it. They need to, if they get better, then they can run their races in their local district. People are going to call you whatever. Your job is to rebut it and do your job in your district, representing the people in your district to the best of your ability.
I have a pushback.
Things will make it.
I have a pushback to that.
Okay.
I have a pushback to that.
By the way,
just real quick, give me like 30 seconds. So we always assume that and this is where I say I agree with James. I don't like labels. We always assume that an election is only between two sides, left and the right. There are people in the middle, and there are people that don't even follow politics, that are just voters. Yeah. So when you talk about some of the ads that people don't watch TV, people actually do watch TV. And some of my some of my point also, because I'm not just watching ads. First of all, because Texas was a battleground state for the first time, they overloaded us with ads. And there was one thing I saw there, which I'm not really too against what the the establishment or the conservative Democrats, like you like to call it, are saying. I was seeing ads in Houston with riots that happened in Minnesota being used in ads in Houston, and saying that, these guys want to defund the police and everything. So you're going to have guys that are not savvy politically. They're not on the left and not on the right. Some of them are not even frequent voters, but this time around decided to vote, and they're going to watch that on TV. And believe it or not, some of them are going to. And if the thing is, an election with a lot of turnout turns in a lot more people that are not on any side. They are not on, they're not registered Republicans or registered Democrats or consider themselves liberals or Democrats. They're just voters. So when you see an election where there's so many people come out to vote, a lot of those people are people that are learning about their politics on TV from ads and maybe some even on social media. So I get to the point where you are making, but in an expanded election like this, where too many people voted, those things tend to matter because the people that are voting are beyond just on different sides. That's because I'm just looking for my lens and the ads that I was watching. And that's what I was looking, because I was like, are you serious? No riot happened in Houston. No riot happened in Texas, not even Houston. No riot, not one. They didn't burn anything, but they were using it in the ads here.
So my rebuttal to that is they've been running ads using Nancy Pelosi as a boogeywoman forever. And they will still do that even when she leaves office. They use Harry Reid, a white man, as a big
But it works. But it works.
Okay, so the question is, but it's never going to stop. You cannot end that.
But are you going to aid them? Are you going to aid them though? Like the socialism thing, for example, that you say that they say socialism. So now you're now going to, because some of these ads, they don't even call you that. They just use your words. Mm-hmm. Like Bernie, for example, and again, I apologize for everything I've said about Bernie. I posted it online. But the thing about Bernie, I don't think he's a bad person. I just felt like he was a bad politician, and I was driving me crazy.
Let me tell you this.
But Bernie will say he's a democratic socialist, right? All they need to do in Miami, in places where they are fleeing from countries with socialism and communism, all they need to do is play his words. That's all they need to do.
There is no world. There's nowhere there's no timeline that Bernie should have come close in 2016. He's a bad politician. I will admit. He's Dennis Kucinich. Hillary made that man look like he was a rock star. That's what you need to know. Like, he's a bad politician.
So I'm not against you. I'm not against you.
There's no way Bernie lost that race in a landslide. The only issue is that he just wouldn't go away.
It was raising a lot of money.
There's no way he should have won. He shouldn't have won New Hampshire. He should have won New Hampshire. Like, he's a socialist, right?
Why would you win New Hampshire? New Hampshire borders Vermont. I was just in Vermont last week. You could drive into. She was the former first lady, a popular senator. She should have won that thing in a landslide. That man. Okay, he won.
Guys, from the outside looking in, can I chime in?
Guys, wait.
Because this legislation of 2016 and Bernie and something is not.
Bernie Sanders called the third.
Wait, guys, wait. Let's hear a different perspective.
Justin, what's your point?
Let's hear from you.
So I mean, this is going to be unpopular, but so when I keep saying, why do you people call this guy stupid? Everything all of you said before this small departure to the Vermont, the Bernie saga, right? Everything you've described about how the guys on the other side operate suggests to me a well-oiled, very focused machine.
I don't know where you keep saying that we say they are stupid though.
You are the chief of the people calling them stupid. Why are you saying you don't know?
They are not
In fact, it's you I'm talking about.
They are not stupid. We know what they're going to do. Stupid. I mean,
Bola said called out stupid act. He didn't call them stupid.
6.5 dozen.
I know what they're going to do now. To me,
okay. So how come? Why is this democratic house in Tisari?
I think Shay has a perspective about that. Let Shay go. Come on.
The first is that people think of the Democrats. First of all, people have this assumption that parties are ideologically consistent,
like homogeneous,
cohesive. Yeah.
Like everybody on this side believes one thing. And that's just not the case. It is not and has never been the case.
And it's not possible.
Worse with the Democrats than it is with the Republicans. And that's because of the nature of conservatism versus liberalism, or progressivism, if you're feeling generous, right? Conservatism says, this is what it is right now. Let's shall limit damage. Don't change it too much. You can say, we had this conversation last time, the argument that it's supposed to be about constraining the size and reach of government, right? And thereby increasing the liberty of the individual by keeping a small state. It's about keeping the laws and the system as small as possible to the extent we can. That's supposed to be conservatism. Liberalism is therefore more expansionist. But when you have an expansionist philosophy, people want to expand in different directions, some of which are in contrast with each other. So there are people within the same party who have oppositional agendas. And this is why the Democratic Party is quote unquote in disarray. And honestly, will always be. But so what?
So
rather than as a strength.
I honestly like the way
that message.
I like the way you're broken it down, Shay. Now the thing is, understanding that dialectic nature of the liberal worldview, right? It is therefore incumbent on the people who have an organized structure called a party pushing an agenda from that paradigm to create a system that works so that you do not implode under the contradictions of your worldview. It's simple dialectics, and that's where I think that the Democrats are failing. Yes, I understand perfectly.
I'm with you 100%, Justin. 1,000%. I'm with you.
Is not efficient at localizing and making specific its operations in the different areas where issues are in contention is perfect. Okay, and I've seen Kingsley advocating for different chairs of the DNC and DCCC. We want to see leadership change because we believe other people can do the job better of translating those local issues into effective localized campaigns that nevertheless support a intersection at the national policy level. So yes, these are all very appropriate indictments of the Democratic Party. They should be doing better. Okay? How do you consistently win the popular vote and lose the electoral college?
One thing I would note, and it's a good thing you mentioned the electoral college just now, if not because of the fact that we have an electoral college, the fact is that
there will never be a Republican president.
No, that wasn't even going to be my point.
Ronald Reagan was governor of California, Sean.
Yeah, that wasn't even going.
And he was a liberal. He was kind of liberal at that point.
Okay, that is not my point. The point I was going to make is that if we didn't have a Democratic Party, what we call the Democratic Party today would be essentially split into 2 or 3 different parties.
Yes. Of course.
Because right now, what we have ideologically, right, you have a center-left party, right, and you have a more leftist party, as you see in Europe or in even in Canada where you are, Yomi. And
actually, yeah, okay.
Are you not in Canada?
Yeah, I'm saying the spectrum of where we stand in politics. The Democratic Party will be a conservative party in the U.S. in Canada.
Exactly, right. Yeah. And even there are people like Joe Manchin, for instance.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
he's a Republican.
Well, he's not a Republican. He's just very conservative. He's just more conservative, right, than the base of the Democratic Party and most people in the Democratic Party. If you guys are familiar with Zell Miller in the early 2000s, he was a senator from Georgia, right?
Yeah,
a Democrat, right? He opposed John Kerry in that election, spoke at the Republican National Convention, right? He was a conservative Democrat, right? So we have a bunch of parties fused into one. And so when we have our primaries, it really exposes these fault lines. But the difference between what we call the Democrats and the Republicans, Bill Clinton said the Republicans fall in line, Democrats like to fall in love, right? If we are unable to align behind the person who wins the national as leader of the party, right? We don't often progress because we allow those false lines to break. And not to litigate 2016, that was also part of what happened. We were not able to align internally. We were still having ideological battles. You know, we were talking about progressives earlier. We were still having ideological battles as regards to whether Hillary was progressive enough, right, or not. It's ridiculous. And there is time and place for ideological discussions, right? I agree. But when we have decided, let's go. And I think one of the things that Biden did was he was able to build and maintain a strong coalition of people who normally would not talk to one another. And I think that's going to be his strength going forward.
So I'll say this. In 2016, in 2016, there was a certain arrogance from the Clinton campaign and not even listening to progressives, not needing their help, thinking to themselves that they got this.
No, Kingsley, that's true. Kingsley, it's true.
They did. It was very different this time around.
It's true.
No, it's not.
Biden was very conciliatory. They actually gave him a lot of concessions in the platforms. He actually reached out to people and talked to them. He reached out to Bernie. He was having conversations with Bernie. Elizabeth Warren.
They have like a conference now that Bernie came and they put up. They did the what they call it, the platform together.
The platform Trump was talking about, right? They signed a communique.
And Elizabeth Warren is actually one of Biden's closest economic advisors right now. So you can see a big difference with the way Biden is doing it from what Clinton is doing it. So my point now is everybody.
That is not true, because if I could share something here, I would right now. I'm actually reading an article right now from 2016 where Bernie was part of the platform. Well, his folks were part of the platform committee, and they moved the Democratic platform significantly left in 2016 after Hillary won the campaign.
And they moved the platform significantly left, but they knocked a lot of things that these guys were asking for off the platform.
Of course, they're not going to accept hook, line, and sinker.
Hang on. And also, Bernie did a ton of campaigns for that woman. She was a bad candidate. You have to end up with that. This is a bad candidate. This is a bad candidate.
All right, guys.
So moving forward, everybody right now is aligned with where Biden wants us to go. Everybody is. Like, if Biden puts everything on his,
it's clear that you can't stand Hillary.
No.
Hillary hates puppies. Like, wow.
No, but we are because first of all,
like, it's crazy.
So let me say it this way. I love people that are good at their job.
You know what I mean?
I love people that are good at their job.
If
you're good at your job, I'm a fan. If you're a manager, manage people well. If you are a politician, have some skills, people skills. No, do your job. I think Biden has always been a great politician. I like him. I think he's old, and we'll find out in the next 2 years. I think Clinton was a great politician as well. Obama was just just outstanding. Kamala's terrible, but that's a different conversation. I like people. Hang on. I like people good. I like people that are good at the job. If you sabi the work, I'm a fan.
Hold on. When somebody
sabi the work, you can see.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course, yeah, fine.
When you say Hillary was a bad person, what are you referring to? Hold on, let me
not a bad person, yeah.
Hold on. Okay, when she was a bad candidate. When you say, is it how the right has demonized her for 30 years? This was an excellent politician in New York. So I want to know what was it when she was Secretary of State? I want to know this Hillary. I'm confused about Hillary.
So-
when people say
so
that,
this
let me 1 minute before I continue.
Why?
Why I say that is that Biden, in as much as I love Biden, is not actually that of a great person. It's just that he's a likable person. He's a simple person. He has empathy, but it's not as if he's special or he's unique. So I want to know why people hate Hillary and why they like Biden. I find it very confusing.
So that's a skill, empathy. A politician that can kiss a baby and give you
Hillary
that
has
little
empathy.
fake, that little fake laugh, that little thing where you like you're laughing, but you're lying, but
that her laugh is
it's nonsense. But he's good at that game. Like, look at that video where he hugged that kid, right? That autistic kid.
Yes.
Like, you could see that and you could be like,
You want me to send you videos of Hillary hugging and
no. Hang on. With Hillary,
Mayo, how hard have you been laughing? Mayo, how hard have you been laughing?
Now, come on. There's no rational person that says that Hillary was a great retail politician. There's nobody that says that. You're the only one. You're the only one to believe that.
Please mute. I think someone else is listening from somebody else. Please mute, guys.
I will turn your mute your thing.
I'm with Yomi on this one, by the way. I can never get that picture. Sorry, guys. I can never get that picture of an interview with Hillary after they took down what's the Libyan guy's name? Gaddafi. Where she went, we went, we saw, he died. And then she did that cackle. I can't get that video. Yeah, Kingsley, I'll look for the video and share with you. I can't get that video.
Kingsley. I think she's an exceptional person. Let me say that. I think she's an exceptional person. She achieved a lot in her lifetime. She was actually put through a lot by the press as well. I sympathize with that. But if you're not good at it, I have people on my team that want to be managers, but they're terrible with people. But I have to talk to them and tell them, like, hey, recalibrate your expectations in life of what you're good at. She's not good at this thing. She's a policy person. She's not good at retail politics. You think she is? That's fine. You have a different perspective.
I'm so with you on this end. Like this, me and Kids fight about this thing a lot too. And my older brother, we fight about this. In fact, me and my older brother, we didn't speak for a while because Obama and Hillary first time. My older brother didn't vote though. He voted for everybody and left that open. I didn't want to talk to him again. He was on the show last week. So there's this thing about people that are really, really for Hillary that don't like hearing all the things Yomi is saying. They don't like hearing it at all. But I don't want this show to be about Hillary. So
I'll make one point, Bola.
Okay, make your point.
It's like in Germany where people are like, Merkel is amazing. I think she's accomplished, but Merkel cannot win an election in America. She's bland. She just cannot. But she is accomplished. She's an accomplished person. So I like people that are good at politics. Just moving forward on the policies in the future, everybody on the left right now is aligned with where Biden wants to take us to. If Biden's plans take us there, we're going to be happy. If Biden's plans don't take us there, then we move forward again, right?
But you mean Biden's plans is the left plan now. He took a lot of Bernie's plans, Warren's plans.
Oh, so we are for Biden's plans.
He said he's fine with it.
I'm fine.
All right, guys, please. My is here. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. See, I know you've been listening since. I know you've been listening.
Is this chips and gist I'm always fighting with?
Yes. Yes.
Mr.
No, I'm actually a bit lost. So I'm just trying to catch up with what you guys are saying. So I'll jump in eventually.
Okay. To get you going first, just tell us about your election day experience and how everything has evolved to now. We're trying to set in expectations, like what to expect now, and most of the conversation has delved into progressivism versus Kingsley's brand of liberalism. They're liberals.
English brand.
So I don't know if you want to take it from there, it's fine. But tell us about the emotions that you were going through from the election and all that stuff. But if you want to jump into the progress, because we asked Yomi to define what progressivism is to him, because I even want us to take it away and talk about Africa and the policy, how things will change. But it won't do us justice.
Hey, calm down.
Africa. We are going to talk about that. We are going to talk
African. How my Igbo brothers were just on my neck for Trump.
Calm down.
Calm down.
But let's get by to get things going. I want to hear your take about progressivism, and then all the tackle you want to tackle, Kingsley. Please feel free to tackle him here.
What does progressivism mean to me? Wow, that's an interesting question. I feel like it's moving the ball forward every single time out. You're enacting policies that improve people's lives every time out. It has to. At least I heard briefly. What's his name? Molu
Shei.
Yeah, that liberalism is an expansive ideology. That's I mean, the word itself, progressive, it pretty much encapsulates everything
moving forward.
Yeah, it's you have and the problem with the current political system is that I feel like people have different ideas of what moving forward should be and what it looks like.
But I'm still calling every 2 days, just trying to reach her to find out.
You need to mute.
Okay.
Yeah, I read it.
All right, keep going.
So,
go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I feel like I'm still getting a feel of the conversation, and I feel it's time to jump in. Yeah, I will. But that, as part of as for what progressivism is, I think it's charting the course of society towards a certain goal, and that goal for me is pretty much everyone living lives where we're all on equal footing. And I know that's not always the case for everyone, but that is how I see progressivism.
All right, so no billionaires for you.
No. That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point, because I think we should talk about that. I am not against billionaires per se, but I don't think that you can have a society that works for everyone where billionaires run rampant. You just have to look at these European countries and the type of tax systems they impose on the very rich. If you want to have a politics where you can enable or enact the goals you want, how can you have a group of people who have an unfair advantage over that system?
I agree with you.
Yeah, essentially.
I agree.
Having $100 billion is unhealthy. It's unmoral. It's immoral. You can't have $100 billion. It's immoral.
Justin talk, I beg. Justin talk. And then Casey,
this is a very slippery slope, right? The tensions between capitalism, socialism, all of that whole spectrum just got dredged up, and I'm here for the violence.
What happened to Salvo?
Right, I'm a capitalist, proud one, right? But I do not. To Mayowa's point, I do not believe in unchecked capitalism. I don't believe in a laissez-faire system where there's absolutely no check, let everything run as it goes, right? There have to be some checks and balances. I'm all in favor of that, right? Mayowa said that he's not necessarily against people making money, but he doesn't believe that everything should run towards just a certain group of people. I agree entirely with that. But to the point Oluseyi made earlier, and I agreed with, which is about messaging. I think this is where we on the left, and yes, I am on the left, right, lose the mark. Is that we give too many own goals by way of messaging. So when somebody comes out and says billionaires should not exist, that frankly is stupid. right? Of course, billionaires are going to exist, or saying that no one has earned $1 billion. Bullshit. You create value, and yes, you can earn billions of dollars. But the question should be, what should be your fair share of your contribution for what you have made to the society that enables you?
So, but that's my problem, though. Why would someone have to determine what the fair share is?
We can always debate what the tax rate should be and all whatnot, right? Let's debate that. But can we stop the stupid sloganeering, because it turns people off? That's the point. That's the point that I have been making.
Who's running on billionaire?
Who does it turn off?
So which is the right answer? But this progressive says that who does it turn off? Yomi says who's running it.
Who's running on it? No, but who's running on it? No, let me ask you a question, Kate. Who's running on billionaire should not exist?
Bernie did.
Bernie's running on billionaire should not exist. Bernie said.
Bernie literally said that. He actually said that.
Okay. Yomi, I see what you're doing. Yomi, you know I agree with you a lot today, but I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what you're doing. See, there's narratives and chatter and noise, and then there's your platform and what you're running against. You are trying to separate both. Like, okay, if AOC is shouting this on Twitter, but she's not running at this in our district, that means that's not what she's doing. But you can't separate that.
Campaigns work anymore.
But that's the triangulation that people. That's the triangulation that people do on the centrist side as well. So you have to be fair with this type of things, right? People have conversations in certain rooms and they say certain things. They go to another room and they say another thing, and their platform is more of a general platform for everybody. So this whole thing of picking out what somebody says.
We're in a 24-hour cycle now. Everything is instant.
The one started by saying a while ago that if if the game has changed, and those were your words, we should adjust to how the game changes, right? Yeah. Well, the game has changed, man, and what you tweet or what you say somewhere can definitely be carried around and used to define people a world away. Okay.
And when they ask Shalala, should billionaires exist? Does she have an articulate way of answering that question? She thought about that.
Missing the point. You are missing.
No. That's always the point. The point is everything is local. Everything depends on how you define yourself.
It's no longer local.
Yomi, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
I awaken.
Guys, wait. Please let Kene ask this question.
Hello, nice to meet you. I really enjoyed Yomi,
I'm just glad people don't see me as this radical.
Kingston has to talk me out of cussing you out one time.
Yes,
Mayo, why is a teddy bear offline, right?
Yomi? Yeah. My question to you is simple. I mean, it also points to what Kingsley and Bola is saying, right? Okay. Politics is local. I've asked you this question: how did Kara Eastman, a progressive in Nebraska, lose woefully, and Joe Biden won that district handily? Please explain.
So Kara lost that race because the former rep that was a Democrat endorsed a Republican. She ran a bad race and she lost. Katie Porter ran a race in a progressive, in a swing district.
No, Clinton won that district. Clinton won that district.
No, but she ran in a district that prior to her, it was run by what? Republican, right?
Yes.
So hang on. So they are districts where people are. Sherrod Brown wins Ohio every time.
Yes.
Easily.
Why?
He's a progressive. He's more progressive than he's a very big progressive.
What do you say now? Sherrod Brown is for.
If you don't know that, Sherrod Brown is for Medicare for all. Do you know that?
Sherrod Brown runs like a conservative Republican.
Please. Sherrod Brown, then you can't have a conversation if you don't know Sherrod Brown is a major progressive. Can I just? Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown is.
All right, wait, guys. Let Maya comment, please. Please.
Sherrod Brown is basically what people think Bernie is, right? Bernieites think people see Bernie and they think he's Sherrod Brown.
And then I'm going to mute you.
Sherrod Brown is actually the version of Bernie. That's the real version. That's the guy that actually knows how to talk to working class people. He's in a working class district. Has lived there his whole life. He's a progressive. So nobody can knock that out of Sherrod Brown. Go find out.
I think there's this.
Maiwa.
Yeah, I think there's a distinction between. First of all, I feel like there are so many spectrums on the left, and there are so many of us that accommodate different levels on this left thing. Progressives and lefties are not the same thing. Sometimes they are aligned, but it doesn't have to be the same thing. So if he does, I do believe Sherrod is a progressive based on the things he champions. He might not be as radical as some think Bernie is, but Bernie is also, I think Bernie is very misunderstood too, because he was playing a secular game. Yeah. No, for real.
Not for me now.
I don't even feel like Bernie's politics are radical enough.
They're not actually radical. He's just awful. He's just a terrible human being. I will never forgive him for
no. No one can ever say Bernie is a terrible. That I would disagree with. I'll even fight people for that. No, I think he's a great man. I think he's a great man, but
he's a nice guy.
I think Corbyn is a nicer man than Bernie is.
Who?
Corbyn in England.
So let me.
There
was
really? Anyway, I have no.
So there was something Kingsley said a few minutes back, and it was the argument about Hillary. And Yomi said Hillary was a bad candidate. You already know how I stand here. But Hillary is pretty much the one who elevated Bernie. That's how he got this spotlight. If Sherrod had run against her, we will be talking about, well, some people will be maligning Sherrod right now. But I don't see anything wrong with calling Sherrod a progressive. I think he is a progressive.
I think Bernie Sanders to me was a kook before 2016. I told Maya that multiple times. Like, he's a kooky dude.
No,
like,
that's how they were viewed in the
He's
party.
a crazy lefty. The same way that Kucinich is a crazy lefty, or Mike Gravel. Those are crazy lefties. Those are not the people that can carry the platform and the banner and actually explain progressivism in a positive way. So that's why I was super excited when Elizabeth Warren decided to run. I was like, finally. I had multiple conversations daily with Maya talking like trying to get him off the bandwagon, because for me, if progressives that looked at Elizabeth Warren and being like, hey, this is the person that can message our platform properly for us and explain it to people in a way that does not make us sound like we are crazy. Bernie makes us sound like we are crazy.
But you're gonna give a stump speech. Bernie can give a stump speech. Bernie can rile up the crowd.
That's
politicking.
Warren. But see, that's where I differ with. Yomi, because he is looking for polish. He's looking for people who can give you the kind of message that you basically feel they're competent. But Bernie inspires people.
Yeah.
And the people who write for him are passionate about him.
Yeah.
They want to learn for him. There are very few politicians that can do that.
Bernie's like Trump on the right, on the left.
All right, guys. We are talking about people that didn't win an election. Let's go back to the person. Yeah, can I know?
Just 1 minute. 1 second.
Can I don't do now?
Benny tried. I give it to him. He tried. I don't agree with Kingsley or anybody. Benny worked hard for Biden this period. He worked very hard.
I said that. I agree entirely with that.
Who was criticizing him here?
Me.
All right.
He did well for us.
I think Bernie did in 2020 what he should have
done in 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, but he hated Hillary.
Exactly. He hated her. Like he couldn't stand her.
He hated her, and that's why I hate Bernie Sanders.
No, guys. Let's talk about the people that won the election.
But it's unfair to hate Bernie. Bernie had every right to be angry.
Enough of Bernie.
Can they don't do? It's an important part that I want us to get to real quick. And that part itself, front and center in that part, So let's talk about now Biden has won. All the madness that's going to happen, let it happen. And we've talked about liberalism and progressivism and all the stuff, and Bernie's plan and then Biden's plan. everybody here is African diaspora, whether you're still in the US or not. But so I want us to now talk about someone is clicking. I don't know, please mute.
Oluseyi.
No,
Not you.
he's mute.
Who's that? It
Oluseyi
can't
is
be
mute.
me.
Someone is typing. Let me just see. It's not connected. This is mute. It might be Justin.
We're good now.
Justin.
Yeah. All right. So this is where I want us to go.
Okay.
We had a policy and direction for 4 years with Trump towards Africa. Trump also has a lot of fans. Please, I know that this is about to be a cynical conversation, but just allow me to finish. And then everybody, I know you guys can't wait for me to finish. Allow me to finish. Please, if you guys say as soon as I'm done talking, I'll just sit back and allow you to have it. But just allow me to set the stage. You guys can take it. Whoever wants to go first. But Africa, in Africa diaspora,
Okay.
What types of changes are we expecting? First, I want someone that can kind of draw parallels with the policy towards Africa with Trump. Because there has to be a policy because he has a lot of fans in Nigeria.
Right.
So there has to be something he's doing for Africa currently that is making them happy. I've also heard conspiracies about Obama supported Buhari, so because of that, they're punishing Democrats. If you have any thought about that, please share. Also, the Biafra thing. Some people said he promised them Biafra. Trump promised them Biafra. Any thought that you have on any of these things, please share. But let's try to get this conversation around Africa diaspora and how things could possibly change for us. I know for sure the travel ban will be erased right away. At least that's the promise, and it's on the website. Like Yomi keeps saying, and I know Yomi's very mischievous. Yomi has seen things on the website that he likes. So Yomi right now, people might think Yomi is looking for trouble. Yomi's own is that everything you wrote on your website, just do it. Everything you wrote on your website, just do it. And the Africa diaspora thing is on his website too, and they listed everything. So let's drive back up. Okay, so can I go ahead?
Okay, so before I start, I just want to give you a background. Before I came to move to America, I served 3.5 years as the technical assistant to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So I know a bit about American policy. I'll get back to it. I'll go to it lastly, but I want to talk about something. This election polarized my family. Let me tell you, I'm in Nigeria here. My mother's sisters, my mother's brothers in Nigeria, they most made me run mad. I mean, my aunties, they will call me, "Oh, Ikenna, you are supporting Trump." I'm like, why will I support Trump? It was, I'm like, 70% of Igbo people support Trump. I'm just a conservative, 70%. Why? One, Biafra is so stupid. I wonder who told them that Trump was going to give them Biafra. Two, the Igbo people, I'm sorry to say this, I am very sorry, converted their hatred for the northern Muslims into their love for Trump, in the sense that because Trump doesn't like the Muslims, they love Trump. There's no explanation.
Okay, wait.
I'm telling you.
Wait. I'm not saying you should say that, but you have to explain. That one you can't just drop it and go.
No. Let me give you an example. So I asked a very simple question. Like I asked them, they'll tell that Trump is protecting Christianity. What is Trump that doesn't go to church? They'll now tell you that what is it called? That the Fulani herdsmen are coming to take over their land. Look, I literally argue. Short. I've been suspended from my old boys association group because somebody said this and I called him a fool. I say, if you think like this, you shouldn't be here. I've been suspended and fined 10,000 naira. I'm telling you how serious it is. Look, it's not a laughing matter. Did you not see people protesting for Trump in Onitsha? Did you not see the crowd? These are people that didn't do NSAS. They are doing for Trump. Trump. Who's Trump? I'm telling you what it is. That's how they think. They think that because most of them don't like the northern Muslim, they think that Trump is my enemy or my enemy. That's the only reason. I've told you Biafra and that reason. That's what they'll tell you is protecting.
So this is the first time I'm hearing this piece of it, which is this is why we do this show, because we all learn new stuff. And this is a very good point. Are you done?
No,
because you're going to talk about the policy thing, or are you reserving that for later?
No, I can talk about it, but if anybody wants to talk about this, but I'm telling you what it is. As per I'm Igbo, my tribe. I mean, you listen. I hear them talk every day, and they call you and they say the damnest of all damn things. Biafra, protecting Christians. They now ask them, what do they mean by protecting? The man doesn't go to church. They now tell you that these Fulani people want to take over our land. Trump because Trump. The church as the NGOs in America, right? They have a big association in Nigeria, and they wrote a book. And not only the Igbos. There's a man I buy share from in Maryland here. He told me the same thing. He said his brothers in Southern Kaduna, he's a Christian boy from Southern Kaduna, will call him every time and tell him that, look, you have to support Trump. He's protecting us. So that the Christians have that feeling that Trump is going to protect them from invading marauders. So they support him.
This is my first time hearing this. I don't know if you guys have heard the same thing, but this is my first time hearing that part.
No, I've heard this. Like, let me start off by saying that there is a lady in our comments who I think, if possible, we should get her in here sometime. Nima.
I tried to invite her last time. Do you have time, Nima? If you have time, just nod. I'll send you a DM.
She's really solid on foreign policy. Not to say that no one here isn't, but she'll be a very solid voice. So that's one. To the point that Kenan made, for some reason, Trump cast himself as a tribune of the evangelicals, right? And to be fair to him, he delivered on that point. He has appointed very conservative judges and justices to the Supreme Court. He has done everything to advocate for what the evangelicals call religious liberty, which is really saying that they can essentially leverage their religion to burden other people, right? And because of how, unfortunately, I have to say, speaking as a Christian, American evangelical Christianity has found its way to seep into the Nigerian consciousness to define, right, in a good way, Christianity in Nigeria. This Yahoo, Kenneth Copeland, and all Benny Hinn and all these people, right? These folks come in and essentially export that brand of Christianity into Nigeria. When I was growing up, the Orthodox churches, Catholics, Anglican, Methodist, they were the ones that ran that defined Christianity in Nigeria. As we got to the 90s and certainly the 2000s, right, evangelicalism came in, right, and that brought about. And I'm not saying this because I actually grew up in a Pentecostal church, but I could see the transition from what we called Christianity to what was exported to it, right? So with the advent of Trump, that brought with it its inherent problems. Oh, support Trump because he is the one that is the vanguard for Christianity, to the point Kenan made about Biafra and all whatnot. But again, because a lot of people don't look at the nuance of situations, they didn't realize that he is the one that is the vanguard for Christianity. Someone needs to mute, right? So, but because they didn't look at the nuance of situations, what they fail to realize is that Donald Trump is an isolationist. He is not in favor of involving himself globally. So whatever is happening in Nigeria, if God forbid a second civil war should break in Nigeria, Donald Trump does not
care.
Fuck. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Right? So why would anyone who is of rational mind and has studied the issues think that he's going to come and give you Biafra? That's just stupid, right? So let's call a spade a spade. That's the situation there. With respect to what we can expect from Joe Biden, honestly, I really want us to get away from this American savior mentality where we are just waiting for the right person to come into place, to come in and save Africa. I remember that one of the most annoying things I saw when
guys, please, if you're not talking, please mute.
Kenny, you may need to mute.
No, I'm not talking. It's not
okay.
me.
Or when former President Jonathan had a bilateral meeting with Barack Obama, he said something that really enraged me. He said, in order to fix the world, you must fix Africa. And in order to fix Africa, you must fix Nigeria. I was enraged. Like
who said Jonathan said that to
Barack
Obama?
When was this? When was it? 2013?
I think so. It was.
I was there anyway.
You were there.
Yeah.
Right. So he literally came cap in hand, literally. Right. So we can have this worldview. The question is, what is Africa's specifically, what is Nigeria's foreign policy on the continent? What are we doing? Where do we stand? And in what ways do those align with what Joe Biden may be doing on trade, for instance? Right? Where do we stand? Are we able to market our products other than oil? Right? There are so many ways. Anyway, I still need my
Nima, please, because I know you don't have too much time. So you heard the initial question and you heard where the conversation is going. But I know that you had thoughts on the initial question. So please take it away.
Hi, hello everyone. Why are you laughing? I don't understand. Hello everyone.
Nima, let's see your real face.
I have been doing meetings all day and I look like a wet rag right now. Okay, to answer the very first question that you asked. So we actually carried out there was a survey we carried out at some point, sometime last year.
Who's we?
Why people actually love America and love Trump. One of the key things that people kept mentioning was that immediately Trump did, see, African leaders, religious leaders in Nigeria play a huge role as to how people actually accept and, understand politics. So when he made the announcement about Jerusalem, is someone's mic? Okay. When he made the announcement about Jerusalem, the way the pastors relayed the message to the people in the congregation, they painted Trump has saved the Christian race. Literally. And when that happened, it changed the course of things. A lot of people just started all of a sudden, they started seeing him as a God, as a savior, considering the fact that at the time, there was a Palestine, there was a conversation going on in the office of the Human Rights Commissioner, where they were actually trying to create something close to a peace accord. It was something that, it wasn't, it was looking viable, but at the same time, they were like, okay, maybe with patience and all of that, it would work. Now, when that message got out, when people found out, especially most Christians on the African continent, when they found out that was about to happen, a lot of people were sad. So when Trump just came back and, he said that, he was moving the embassy down to Jerusalem, it just changed the course of things. It was like, you just throw a matchstick into, a place filled with gasoline and everything just went bust. So when that happened, they then moved the message from, oh, he has done that, to he is now about to get reelected. Everybody, you need to pray for him to get back there. So we would then restore ourselves as the leaders, as the God's chosen one. Do you understand what that means? So at first, it went from, oh, it's against the Muslims and the Muslim minority in that area to, Trump has done this for us. He has done this for the Christian society. And now we're about to become, what we used to be. So when that happened, everything just changed. When that happened, everything changed, and the pastors then started, going out with the message of he has saved Israel, he has saved Jerusalem, he has saved us. Okay, let's start praying for him and let's get him reelected. The pastors were blocking out the negative messages. The whole, oh, you're a shithole, go back to your African hordes and things like that. Those kind of messages are messages that he could have said, they could have said in their congregation, but they never did. Right? So they just kept it straight on, he's the good guy, and whatever he says, anything that you hear about him is a lie. Forgetting that these guys, the religious leaders, also had their interests at hand. That was one of the key things that we actually found out from the survey that we took. Now, so the second question about, Africa's foreign policy, this is something that I've written and I've spoken about a couple of times. We can't have a foreign policy. We can't have a solid foreign policy direction if we do not change the objectives of foreign policy that we currently have. Our foreign policies, foreign policy objectives are still, set in the were created in 1945, and they were, was it ratified or something in 1999 during Obasanjo's first tenure. That was the last time we actually had anything close to a sensible foreign policy. The fact that most of our leaders at this time, they're not paying attention to the foreign policy, which is why you see what happens with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other smaller commissions under that ministry. You can't do anything if, rather than speaking to experts or career ambassadors, you're making that space a political one. Do you understand? You're not putting people who actually know the craft into these positions. You have filled the ministry with people. You filled the ministry with political appointees. So a lot of people don't actually know what they're doing. They're just getting into that space and trying to enrich themselves and, carry on with their own agenda. So before we can actually have a proper foreign policy direction, we need to actually try to make a few distinctions as to what we want. First, we need to even understand what we want as our national interest. Every country with a sensible foreign policy direction has a national interest. We actually don't have that one. We are too divided to actually come up with a particular foreign policy, national interest, right? We also need to understand if it's Africa that is going to be our cornerstone, or, we also now want to expand on a regional level, or, we want to go international. We haven't done any of that. We are still stuck in the whole Pan-Africanism things.
So you said all of this to tell us that Biden or Trump or nothing is going to change.
No, I don't see anything changing. With Trump, it was easy for the Buhari administration because they were able to. Trump had his own interest, right? We all know how Trump is in terms of, finances and money and stuff. And the Nigerian government was able to do that. But with Biden, I feel like a lot of thought is going to go into when, the Nigerian government wants to procure certain things from the American administration. And we are also going to be seeing, because from last year, in the world of IR, a lot of people started, talking about the importance of targeted sanctions. So I actually think, because of the kind of person Biden is, I suspect that a lot of some African leaders are actually going to be getting, targeted sanctions in the coming months.
Justin, I don't know if anyone else has a question, but Justin, you've heard a lot. Nima is actually a foreign policy pro. So we try to shift the conversation from before she joined, from the progressivism and stuff we were talking about to.
Don't bite your tongue.
And don't worry, I don't tire. From that to talk about African diaspora and what would change with a new president in the US. So I don't know if you have any general thoughts or if you have questions for Nima.
No, I was listening very closely to what Nima. Well said, Nima. On the issue of Nigeria and what our foreign policy position may be or may not be. In the past, it used to be that we would tell ourselves that we are non-aligned, right? So, back in the days of the Cold War, where America and Russia had basically divided.
I went for a non-aligned meeting in Serbia, but
oh, you did?
And then,
So when you were either aligned to the axis of evil or you were aligned to the Western, we told everybody that we were non-aligned, and then we progressed from being non-aligned to telling everybody that our foreign policy is Africa focused. But like Nima rightly pointed out, you cannot even begin to articulate a foreign policy position if you have not sat down to contemplate and articulate what are my interests, because your policy direction takes root from the interest, the objective that you're trying to meet. So we have not even sat down to say, I mean, people are destroying 200 million naira worth of beer in Kano and Katsina states, for heaven's sake, in the name of Sharia.
Now prohibition.
In a constitutionally secular country, which I don't know whether to call it a paradox. Is it a paradox or an oxymoron? Because we are constitutionally secular, but then we have Sharia laws in some parts of the country. They also
get a share of the taxes, though.
So you can see that, exactly. So you can see already that I'm getting ideological whiplash even in these 2 seconds of talking, right? Constitutional democracy, constitutional secularity to Sharia in the same country. People are burning beer and is being asked to report to the police because she posted a picture. All sorts of madness all over the place. Summary of what I'm saying is, it breaks my heart to say it, but hey, I'm used to the pain now. We never start. So listening to you guys talk about progressivism, for me, is an escape from reality. It's catharsis for me. You know? It's very cathartic for me because I'm listening and I'm like, yeah, this is what really serious people should be talking about.
If you want to say something, Maiwa.
But I like to talk. I like to talk too.
Go ahead before I say the one I shouldn't say, because I can feel the bile rising in my throat right now. So like, just shut up.
Can I quickly ask me my question?
Go ahead, Casey.
No, yeah, I do want to ask her a question. Especially in light of the NSAS protest we just saw. And I assume, I'm not going to say I assume. I'm just curious, though, if we see something like this again, and a similar situation, well, it's not similar. We saw what happened in Syria, where there was an uprising by the people against its then leader, and we saw that leader turn violent and turn the gun to states enforcement on those. If this were the case to happen in Nigeria, for instance, are we supposed to expect any of our so-called allies to come to our aid, or are we on our own?
Okay, that question is for me, I believe.
Yes, that's for you.
Okay, so after the Syrian war, about, I think it was a year after, not after, but like, I think this was in 2018. Yes, 2018, when after the the United Nations General Assembly, so they have like, post conference where they do a lot of talking and things like that. Now, the conversation there was like, the main conversation was, how did we mess up? Right? Because the West at the time started getting a whole lot of flack for, saying that they got involved and they didn't have a plan, which is why, a lot of countries then started saying, they were closing their borders. They didn't they didn't want the Arabs to come in and things like that. And Merkel then said, okay, you know what, she's going to console people by doing the whole open border policy because she felt bad for her involvement. That's the gist anyways. Now, I don't see a full-blown allies getting involved kind of situation. What I see is what is about what is currently brewing at this time, which is a lot of people now understand what it means, like what targeted sanctions are all about and how effective they are. Now, I don't know if anyone noticed Kosovo, the issue with Kosovo. It was last week when the president said he was resigning and, he was heading to The Hague. The gist in international relations telegrams group is that he actually had some of his assets seized. Like some of his assets are actually getting seized at this time. And, they then said to him, if he wasn't going to come and, say his involvement, then he's going to, he should risk, tons of his funds also getting seized as well. Now, nobody, all the politicians I have read or, studied, or, actually had listen to them speak, they don't play with their money, especially what they've looted. So when they hear, targeted sanctions, they hear their families are also going to get sanctioned, they won't get to fly, they would start asking them to leave the properties that they're in or they're living in. That actually hits something in them. It's no longer, we are dealing with the countries. It's now we are dealing with the people and their involvements. There's a way that actually gets people to behave. So I think what is going to happen is if the NTAS protest continues and Biden gets what's the word, inaugurated in January. Pardon?
I'm joking.
Sorry, when he gets inaugurated in January, and the NSAS protest continues, and our leaders are not doing the right thing, or they're still trying to use force, I see that you'll just be hearing that, okay, maybe 3 weeks in, you're hearing that the US government is now issuing sanctions to people. Because of how sensitive it is, you won't be hearing the people who are being sanctioned or who are being barred. But once the US steps in or they start giving sanctions, other countries will follow suit. So I think targeted sanctions is what is going.
So it's even possible that we won't even hear who it's directed to, but it will be happening behind the scenes.
Because of how sensitive things like that occur, they send the notice via diplomatic couriers. They don't use electronic because it can fall into the right hand and wrong hands, and someone might take a picture or screenshot or something. So what they do is they send diplomatic couriers, and then you take the message to the Foreign Affairs. Then Foreign Affairs let the government know who are actually on the list, and their families will also get the ban
section.
Yeah, they get the sanction.
Kumi, you had a question for Nima.
Yeah, Nima, 2 questions. The first one is in terms of Ngozi Iweala, what do you think is going to happen? We all think that because Biden, I don't know if they're going to wait till after Joe Biden gets inaugurated before they continue with their decision. And how do you think that's going to go? And then secondly, oh God, I've forgotten the second question. I can't remember the second question, but that's the first one.
Okay. Ms. Ngozi, I think congratulations are kind of in order because looking at 2 years into the Trump administration, I started studying Trump. And Trump is someone that, I've said this a couple of times on my timeline. Trump is the kind of guy that he puts his interest first, his personal interest first. Then he puts the American interest as well. Then he would finish it off with the interest of his core allies, not just allies. Nigeria is not that ally. I'm talking core allies that, they spend great money. Right? We saw it play out with how he handled the Khashoggi case. We saw it play out how he handled, a lot of cases in his when he was in office. Now, one thing I still suspect is that they offered the Trump administration, Korea actually offered the Trump administration something that Nigeria has not been able to offer. This is how it works with, lobbying, aggressive lobbying and stuff like that. You always you have to trade something and, you have their votes. So I feel like, the Trump administration was offered something by Korea. It might be some sort of policy or some sort of waiver for one of his companies. Then he also added America as well. And, he decided to stick with them. Now, with Biden coming in, I think the Biden administration will trade something with Korea and let them back down for her. Right? I think she's going to get it. But my concern is this, and please, nobody should fight me. My concern is this. Nigeria knows how to get to these places, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria does not know how to use.
But what have we gotten from it? Yeah.
Exactly. We don't know how to use our spot in these top places. Do you understand? I had a fight with a friend when we were talking about.
It's a feature. It's not a bug. It's not that we don't know.
I don't know.
Feature. It's not a bug.
I know you had an opinion on this, so talk your talk, Justin.
We don't know how to use. We don't know how to use this place of power or these positions that we're in. It's just for us, especially the people back home or the side watchers and people who are just there. They just think, oh, you're there, yeah, that's it. No one understands, the nitty-gritties, how to, make sure things like this works for your country and things like that. Do you understand? You just see them say, oh, okay, as long as you're there, it's good, right? She'll get it. Fine. But is she going to be able to use it for things back home? For positive? That's one I am not sure. Going by
she's not an ambassador for Nigeria.
That's the first thing.
She's not an ambassador for Nigeria. That is purely her on her professional track.
No.
The country is not interested in leveraging it, Nima. That's the point I'm making.
Wait. In IR, right? Things like this are very crucial because she might not say it in public, but in the back end, she's using it to, make sure her country has some sort of solid landing whenever trade is discussed. That is how it should be. Do you understand?
I agree. That's how it should be.
Nima,
key point should be.
Nima, but hold on. The World Trade Organization is actually basically a toothless bulldog. America doesn't respect. Hold on. America doesn't respect them. China barely respects them. So that's one. Two. She has a very, very streamlined position. And I'll give an example. In 2013, Michelle Bachelet, who is now the UNHCR commissioner, right? She was the UN Women Executive Director. And she came to Nigeria to visit for a familiarity tour. And then I told my boss, part of the things I was telling her about, politics is different. I'm just a servant. I told her that, look, this woman is going to run for the presidency of Chile. Meaning that position will be vacant. Go and tell Goodluck that this woman, go and tell Goodluck this thing, that he wants to be nominated to replace her, even if it doesn't work out. For the main fact that Ban Ki-moon is going to have your CV and know about you, you can get to that position. Now, I'd rather be an executive director of UN Women than be a DG of WTO. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, because the position is too streamlined. You are facing problems from everywhere. If it's not Hong Kong, it's China. If it's not China, it's America. If it's not America, it's Germany. You are too concerned with problems of other countries because you're dealing in trade than for you to focus and remember that there's one Aba boy or somebody in Lagos that needs trade. So I'd rather be the ED of UN Women than be the DG of WTO. The ED of UN Women will affect Nigeria more than the DG of WTO. First of all, there are no benefit projects. You can't come and say WTO is building a trading institute in Nigeria. It doesn't work that way. But the UN Women, you can connect and say, oh, the UN Women decided to invest in girl child education. WTO is not like that.
But the DG of the UN itself is Nigerian. And what have we gotten from that?
No, Deputy DG. She's tried.
Give us examples, please.
She put some people in her portfolio, in positions.
That's it?
Can it really? Can I see, please?
Nima.
Don't stress.
Ngozi will not appoint one person. You don't know Ngozi. Ngozi will not appoint one person. Ngozi will not appoint one. I know her very well. I work closely with her. Ngozi will not appoint one person.
Wait.
Get it to the heart. Justin, you don't see person with blood hot past my head today, eh?
Hold on a minute. See, for
Kele
me,
is advocating nepotism.
Of course. What do you mean? Is Trump not a nepotic person? What do you mean?
well,
Is he the gold standard now? I thought you voted him out for this reason.
No. Justin, hold on. Let's clarify certain things. Are you telling me now that Trump should not? I should not appoint Nigerians into positions.
That is not the point. You should
You
remember
shouldn't make
that.
it a matter of policy. Sorry, Nima, go ahead. Go on, Nima.
Sorry, you see, Kenny is just stressing me because I'm sure.
Do you guys know each other? Do you guys know each other?
Oh yes. I know
right.
Kenny. I know Kenny. He was my enemy before. I'm surprised that he didn't find. Anyway, now I'm saying this. Going back to what he said about the WTO being a toothless dog, right? Some silent reforms have been happening from I think the beginning of last year. It was when actually, funny enough, it was one of the interesting things that Trump actually noted. And first time in my life, I actually agreed with Trump when he said, international organizations. When he said international organizations actually need reforms, he was telling the truth. This is a conversation that we talked about years and years. We've talked about it for a very long time. Now, with the WTO being a toothless dog, I do not agree with you, Kenny, because from last year, a lot of reforms have been going on, and they're quiet reforms. And I see these reforms actually maturing by 2021. In the first quarter, they will start making drastic decisions. I will not be able to say them here because it's not out there yet. But these reforms are going to happen, and you would see them.
Okay.
Now,
but there's still a toothless bulldog round. The reforms are not taken.
You actually think that. Yeah, I don't agree with you, Sha. Now, on the second part, about her hiring her own, you seem to be forgetting something. Just earlier, last year, was it last year or this year? What's it called? The AFB presidents actually got in trouble. Additional got in trouble for someone who went to whistleblow with. Is that me? That's not me. Someone who was who decided to tell on him, saying that he's only what's the word that they said, he's only putting Nigerians in key position. They alleged that he was playing favoritism with the code of conduct. These things we have processes, right, that you have to follow in terms of whoever you're hiring and how much thought you have to put into it. The fact that yes, you're a Nigerian and she's a Nigerian doesn't necessarily mean that you're allowed to just say, okay, because it's my person, I want to put them there. I don't agree with you on that. She can't just do that. She has to make sure that whoever she's putting in the key position meets the requirements in the code of conduct of the WTO. Now, finally, I actually think that when she's there, you think that, oh no, she would dump Nigeria and everything. Agreed. She has her own agenda and stuff. But do remember that Nigerians actually lobbied for her to get there. And remember that she actually got into the race late. In fact, Egypt is still fighting with us on top of this matter. Because they said that, she came into the race late and she decided to just, take over the whole thing, and they were not pleased with it at all. Right? Now, she is going to go there and she's still going to be able to do stuff for Nigeria.
Like what?
I doubt it, but let's give her time.
Sorry, like what exactly is she going to do? Not World Trade Organization in this case, but what's she going to do for Nigeria?
Her getting there, one of the benefits of joining what are the benefits of joining WTO, right? Promoting peace, trying to cement trade and things like that.
Is to make sure both countries are not treated, but it's continue.
Say that again. Can I?
To make sure that poor countries are not cheated, so that the big.
Why do you think one of the key reasons that she has this many or this much support from people, especially on the African continent, is because this is going to be the very first time in the history of the WTO where an African woman, in fact, a woman
that has sentimental value, Nima.
Exactly.
That has
Yes, it does.
Leave that aside. So Nigeria's borders. Nigeria's borders have been closed for months.
Let me finish this.
Okay.
Hold on now.
Let me bite my tongue.
Even if it's sentimental, right? Even if it's sentimental, you have to actually think of it as we are in an era where everyone is trying to have this whole, we are going to be diversifying, diversity and inclusion. Do you understand? And she is actually in this space. So yes.
Who is that we?
She has the experience to a certain level. So yes, please let her have it. If it's about that, let her take it.
Okay, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of Auntie Ngozi. In fact, I'm almost family. So I want her to have the job. But I don't want us to romanticize the value to Nigeria.
Hold on. You should also consider the possibility of her actually getting to this position and using that office to what's the word? Twist the arm of our president.
Nima, you see, that's why I said don't keep your hope high. The WTO is a organization.
Maya on mute. Maya on mute.
I really like.
Nema is a romantic. I can tell.
Hold on. I am saying. Hold on, please. Wait, hold on. Let me just quickly finish this off. I'm not saying it's going to definitely happen. I'm saying don't close out the possibility of it happening. You see, there are two things. No, I'm serious.
Just to behave.
That optimism is too expensive for people like me.
I'm sure glad
that level of optimism. Okay. The emotional toll is way too high. I can't afford it. Listen, they just opened up the borders for specific companies and specific individuals. The borders have been closed, businesses have been shut, people have lost their jobs for months, whole industries have been decimated, and then motherfucker just opened up the border for specific individuals and their companies. And you think Auntie Ngozi will twist his arm? That'll be a cold day.
What do you think the core objectives of the WTO is?
So,
no. I'm serious.
My angst.
I'm sorry, but I would have to ask this question. It's very easy. See, let me just say this. I know my president. Well, I know our president. Our president isn't. He has taunted himself as someone who doesn't listen. But then again, I want you to remember something that. When you're taking or when you're about to go on this type of journey, the type of journey Ngozi is going on right now, it means it involves intense lobbying. These lobbying happen at the back end. You don't know what these people are trading. You don't know what these people are talking about. Some of them actually put trade between countries and the routes. The trading routes in their lobbying lists.
Nima,
I think you understand where
Ngozi is an establishment person, right?
Hold on, let me finish, Kenny.
Ngozi is an establishment person.
Because hold on. You and I know, right? I mean, when you were there, you and I know that you know how far these people go in terms.
Yes, I agree with you, but she's not a radical. She's not a radical. She's intelligent, but she's not a radical.
Listen. I agree with you that she's not a radical, but what I'm saying to you is that there is actually a possibility that these people have made certain things to lobby.
Which people are you referring to? Sorry, just so I'm clear.
Her country now.
Her country.
You do realize that for her.
This our Nigeria.
God see, now.
See, let me tell you. Let me tell you this. Take this to bank. I'm saying this to you as someone I'm saying this to you, right? As someone who works in the space. Nigeria has one of the finest. After the Obasanjo era, we had one of the finest set of lobbyists. We actually know how to lobby very well. But you see where the problem is? We get to that position and we never know what to do with that thing. I'm serious.
So then how are we good at
So how are we good at lobbying? I'm a bit confused.
I don't know. It's like one of the finest
Nima, Nima, can I? May I? My lord, may I? Nima, you cannot shave a man's head in his absence, to quote the late MKO Abiola. You cannot successfully execute an errand I did not send you on. Do you understand what I'm saying? You cannot successfully represent me when I haven't given you a brief. No matter how good you are as an attorney or as a counsel or whatever, if I no send you message, not be me send you. Why you pull up? The point I'm making, Nima, has nothing to do with the WTO, has nothing to do with Aunty Ngozi, has everything to do with her principle from a Nigeria perspective.
Justin, do you know that? Do you know that you do realize that before she can open talks with countries for vote, she must have contacted and said something to her principal? I hope you know.
Contact
do you know?
Who?
She speaks, them speaking to other country for support, nah.
So she would have spoke. Maybe she spoke to. Bola, what's that your friend's name that is always tweeting with the president's handle?
Who is that?
Maybe it's...
No. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will have sent what they call an aid memoir. Then it did not.
Please don't put me in trouble. Don't put me in trouble.
You can actually open talk with a country.
The summary of my pushback, Nima, because otherwise I agree with everything you're saying. The summary of my pushback is: do not discount the fact that we are in free fall. We are in free fall right now, from a policy and governance perspective. We are in complete free fall as a country. That's what I'm saying.
I totally I don't disagree, but here's what I'm saying to you: that I'm saying, please don't when it gets in there, you just start saying traffic, certain reforms or certain things going on, and you start laughing. Don't remove that.
Before you end, Mayo had a question, and Ayo just joined. Hi, Ayo.
No, I don't. I actually don't anymore. Justin, my position is Justin's.
Wow.
It's
all right. It's okay.
But let me say something. Bola, I was supposed to talk about my time in the MFA and link it up with what is happening now, right? So I like what
hold on. Just for context. So now we've been talking about a lot of stuff, but now we're talking about Africa diaspora and how policies will change now that government is changing. So some of the things you hear,
okay.
Keep quiet.
Okay. So Nima, I like as how Nima is here because we used to fight. Now, the good luck and before I continue, I agree with her about the Israel stuff. Another reason why the Igbos support Trump and Israel, in quotes, Israel is going to save them. I'm tired of those people. So the foreign policy thrust of the Goodluck administration was foreign direct investment. That was the first thing that he tried to do. Now, how did he try to? Was it just a rhetorical question or statement? There's something in the foreign ministry they call joint commissions. So it's like an informal trade agreement you have with certain countries. So you try and reconvene and sign those agreements so that those companies can come into Nigeria. It's like how we have Trump and China. How Trump, they'll tell you have NAFTA. NAFTA now became USMCA, right? But you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
Well, how NAFTA became USMCA, then you have the tariff problem. So we have those kind of agreements. Did it work out or did it not work out? Well, it worked out for a while, but there's something that is the problem. The problem is that the president of a country is always the foreign minister, indirectly. Like Trump tells you, America first. That is what he's saying. That is his foreign policy. His foreign policy is isolationism, America first. So the good luck drive the foreign policy like the way he should drive it. I don't know. I don't think so. I worked for him. He left it at the behest of a man named Ambassador Olubenga Ashiru. Now, Ambassador Olubenga Ashiru was a nice diplomat, but he was just a typical career diplomat. He didn't have the drive or the intelligence, the radicalism to drive the foreign policy. What is it? To drive the foreign policy to where the ministry wanted. He did well, but I mean, he wasn't radical. When he was sacked, my boss became the foreign minister. I mean, I was under pressure for 6 months of my life because it was so tough. So my boss was more of a politician. Then Ambassador Aminu Wale came in and became the foreign minister, and that guy killed the ministry. As in, when I mean he killed the ministry dead. He didn't appoint career ambassadors. He didn't appoint anybody. He left missions to be run by third secretaries, second secretaries, first secretaries. I'm telling you, that's how bad the ministry was. Now, to the issue of America and Nigeria.
Quick question, Kenny. Are you still in international relations?
No, I've left it. The place is dead. I'm sorry. It's no longer. It doesn't interest me anymore. I just remember the work I did. Now, to the main thrust of the matter, Nigeria and America. Let me talk about Nigeria and America during my time. Unfortunately, for good luck, the American government didn't like him. The Obama government didn't like him. It's the truth. That's one of the reasons why the Igbos don't like Obama and Biden, because they feel that he allowed Buhari win. And let me give you an example. The US has their diplomats in the State Department. The person in charge of Africa was a woman named Linda Thomas Greenfield. I don't know if you know her, Nima.
Black lady.
Yeah, the black lady, yes.
Because I think I used to see her.
Yeah, she used to come around. I've met her a couple of times in Ethiopia, in the UN. You remember the case of Ihejirika and the Bama boys, the massacre that happened when Ihejirika was the chief of army staff?
Yeah.
You remember it? You know, it caused a lot of problems for Nigeria. That is why the Obama administration refused to sell weapons to Nigeria. And you know whose law they used to stop us? Patrick Leahy of Vermont.
Lehigh Doctrine.
Yeah, the Lehigh
Doctrine.
Yes, the Lehigh Doctrine. So that caused a lot of angst. And I'll give you a story. I supported Goodluck, but there's some of the things Goodluck did that if I think about it, I was just shaking my head. Do you know we went for a meeting? I mean, I was the TA, so I followed my boss to the State House. And the American ambassador is there. And my boss is like, why is this guy sitting down with the president? What was his name? I've forgotten his name. Some guy. They finished the meeting, they brought this Leahy law, everything. Do you know that Goodluck told my boss to go, that he wants to discuss something personally with the ambassador? Now, this is the president of Nigeria discussing with a fucking an ambassador. What? Who does that? What were they discussing?
Oh God.
What were they discussing? I'm telling you. So that is the influence America had on Nigeria. So I've given you an example of why they refuse to sell weapons. 2, you're talking of the Buhari government, right? Another problem for us was this woman, Susan Rice. That's why I never wanted her to be the vice presidential candidate.
Oh, you know she might be Secretary of State, yeah.
Yeah, well, she hated the Goodluck's government with a passion. I'm telling you, she didn't like Goodluck at all.
Really?
Because of the perception of corruption, but she did not like. I mean, she didn't like the Goodluck. She didn't like the Goodman administration.
And she's one to talk.
They all. She's the one. What? Well, they like Buhari. I mean, Axelrod worked for Buhari, so who knows?
Axelrod did?
Yes, he was Tinubu's consultant in 2015.
Is it just man? I don't care either. Man, I just want facts. Let me if it's facts, it's fact. Man, if it's just let's not propagate gist.
No, we're not propagating gist.
If it's facts, let's know that it's facts.
Are you saying that Axelrod was not a consultant to the APC?
Is the facts?
It's facts, yes.
Okay, no problem.
That's actually a fact. Axelrod did consult, but the idea that he did so at the behest of Obama and
we don't know. But I mean, he was Obama's campaign manager. You can't take it away. But let me continue.
But okay.
Let me continue.
Nuance.
Continue. So now let's go back to the basics. There's something Justin said that I really love. Right? when you talk of the president, I said that the president is the main foreign policy driver. But we also have to look at our domestic policy. How does the domestic policy affect our foreign policy? And I'll go back to Nigeria and America. You go to a place like Iowa, you can hear the farmers complain about the tariff. So Trump has fought a tariff war that has affected the farmers, that they can no longer sell their products. They now have to depend on cashier's check. Let me go to Nigeria during our time.
The war he fought with China, right?
Yes. How did our domestic policy affect foreign policy? And I'll give you 2 examples. When we instituted the LGBTQ ban, what did it mean? It meant that diplomats in Nigeria who had come with their partners were affected. So it gave the good luck government a lot of hits. It gave my madam, when we go to Poland, you see people protesting, ban Nigeria. I'm telling you, this will not be, it's protest.
So there were actually a lot of diplomats that in the LGBTQ.
No, the diplomats in Nigeria. I mean, like the Danish, the people from Denmark, Sweden, that maybe their partners or the consulars there come with their partners to Nigeria. So it gave good luck hits.
Interesting.
2, Ebola. When the Ebola crisis started, it became a domestic policy. It became a domestic problem. Next thing, it became a foreign policy problem because other countries were banning Nigeria from traveling abroad. But anyway, the good luck government handled it. So what am I trying to say? So when you talk of Nigeria, we must first get our domestic policies right. If your domestic policy is wrong, your foreign policy will be useless. I mean, we could have shouted, "Oh, foreign direct investment." Yes, we want foreign direct investment, but not the one that there'll be a protest. You would go and break bottles, like you said. Which foreign direct investor is going to come and invest in your country when there are no institutions, when people are doing this anyhow? So in as much as we can talk about foreign direct investment or foreign policy, we must get our domestic policies right. If your domestic policies are not right, I'm telling you from experience, no foreigner is going to come.
I'm not going to agree with that, actually.
Okay. So I'm actually going to call you. So respond to that, and then also talk to us about what are your feelings on election night, but also like the emotions that you went through, and also talk to us about how things will change for Africa diaspora, and maybe if you want to talk about immigration too. You're a lawyer.
Yeah. So real quick, I mean, I don't have a ton of like international trade and diplomacy type experience. So I can't really speak to that, but I do think that at the end of the day, money goes where it thinks it'll make money, right? Like that, I think is so. As far as FDIs are involved, right? So like, yeah, there are infrastructure problems in Nigeria, for example, but that didn't stop, Stripe from buying Paystack, right? Like that, and that's obviously like a really big example, but that doesn't stop all of the. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. That doesn't stop money from coming in. It just means that money has to think about the risk that's involved. And so obviously in some ways it makes that money more expensive. If you're expecting you're going to lose half your investment or something like that, into a company, for example, your terms might look a little different. So I don't think that, and it's unfortunate, right? Because if the only way that we could get any kind of investment would be to get our shit together, we would have to get our shit together, right? But the fact that we don't actually have to, we can chug along. I think that's one of sort of, you don't want people to starve to death because no one wants to come because you don't have the infrastructure set up. But unfortunately, it's sort of, bad behavior is being rewarded, right? So there's that. So I'll just say that because, again, I don't know too much about that space. I don't want to speak outside of what I know. Election day, night, or election week really was what it was. This time was really interesting for me, right? So like, I mean, I told myself, I was like, emotionally, I'm not going to let myself hope and feel the shit I felt in 2016. And so like, I was like, you know what, whatever it's going to be, what it's going to be. Before the election, I'm going to do my part, volunteer where I can. And I did that. And so coming election day, I was like, look, it's going to be what it is. But I did. So I know there are some folks, I know that like Lai, for example, was talking about how he thinks that, anything less than 340 electoral votes is a failure. And I was like, it's like, you don't understand this about people. Because like, and I keep trying to explain to people that it's not Trump versus Biden for a lot of people. It's how can, like, there are some Republicans, like when we, all this conversation about identity politics, Republicans, white Republicans are the kings and queens of identity politics, right? Like, for them, who they are fundamentally is, whether that's people that I like worked at like church camp with and stuff, where like, how could you ever vote for somebody who believes in abortion? And you're just like, look, get over it, and they won't, whatever. But for them, right, like that's part of like who they are. And so for them to vote for somebody on the opposite of that, like they can't, like they might as well chop off an arm. And so that's why I was like, look, there are a lot of people, like all those undecided voters.
That abortion thing is serious. So.
It's witchcraft. That abortion thing is actually, it's what's the deal about? It's bondage. It's like that. It's a stronghold, right? At the end of the day, there are people who like everything, like they're actually progressives, except abortion, right? And I think that that's part of the genius of the evil of the Republican Party, but that we're just gonna put that to the side. So I think that I didn't come in expecting that it was gonna be like all these, all my life I've been a Republican, folks are all gonna come out and vote for Biden. I didn't expect that, and that didn't happen, right? Like, yes, he won, yes, Biden won by won the popular vote, won the electoral college, all of that. I mean, I am, such a killjoy because I'm always like, look, December 14th is when we're really going to find out what's going on. Although, I mean, I think things are pretty set now. But I thought it was interesting to see like the votes trickling in because, and I think we discussed this last week, that the real difference is going to be around, like, hearing the voter turnout numbers made me feel confident, and that was not disappointed. People coming out, people having more access to the ballots via mail-in ballots and all that, it made a big difference. I do think it sucks that it came out, like this whole red, whatever they call it, red monsoon or red wave or whatever nonsense, and then decided to count the mail-in ballots. I didn't like that because I think that makes it easier for idiots to think that they almost won. But I think that, I mean, I like that election night, I was actually watching like the most random Yoruba movies on Amazon because I was like, I have to distract myself, otherwise I'm going to lose my mind and start drinking. And so, and I kind of figured we weren't gonna get the results that night. So I was all right. I was watching Ghanaian movies, Yoruba movies. I was like, look, I have to distract myself, and I did. Next day, mostly kept checking. Like most people. I mean, when Vox called it like a day and a half before everybody else, I was kind of like, okay, like all is good. But of course, like when everyone then called it, then it like felt like that much more legit. And so that was all really awesome. When it comes to policy and what's going to happen with immigration and all of these things, I will say, and this is probably going to offend someone, but it's the truth. Our community does not engage politically when it comes to like our special interests. And so a lot of times the things that have benefited a lot of African immigrants, for example, come out of, we get the perks of being Black. We get the perks, not perks. I shouldn't say that. We get the benefits of being under the Black umbrella, right? So like when civil rights folks are fighting for things, right? Like when we're talking about things like police brutality, like that affects us, but we're not at the front line of those. Although, I mean, Black Lives Matter, you've got, what's her name? One of the women who started, Opal Tometi, she's Nigerian, but she's not there as like an African immigrant who's fighting for African struggle. She's there like as a person
American.
Right. And so I think that like our community, and I think part of it is because where we're coming from, there isn't really like political engagement in this sense. Like you're like, you may be one of those people who are like freedom fighters from Nigeria, but most of those people who do then move here and their children are kind of a little more chill. And so I think that like our community has been, when it comes to America and trying to push for our issues, has been kind of diluted. And we don't
I agree with you because, for example, Stacey Abrams, one of our organizations, New Georgia Project, is run by a Nigerian. The CEO, it was on this show a couple of weeks ago. She's Nigerian, insane. And but like she's a black person to everybody else.
Yeah, and I don't even mind that, right? My thing is like we can have like at the end of the day, assimilation is is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to like immigration type stuff, like we don't do nearly enough, right? Like the Latinx community does a lot of the work. I think the Asian community does some of its work
And
too.
and they will benefit from it.
Right. And the thing is, that's all cute until Trump. Trump was out here splicing and dicing. And so, yeah, he, locked people up in cages and all that affected like the border communities. But all like, as of right now, let's say the Latinx community gets in front of the new administration and is able to advocate for some of their for some of the immigration changes that they want. What about this like Nigerian immigration ban? Like that's not going to be under the Latino agenda.
Yeah, but
So,
he already has that in his policy agenda. It's on his website, and Yomi is holding him. You're accountable on everything on his website.
I love it. So I think that we are gonna, there's some good things are gonna happen, and I feel great about that. I wish that our like. And I say this, and I'm not doing anything to make a difference in this space. But I wish that we would be more political in America. We would be more, a lot of people just want to come and just hide and, from, and there's different levels to it, right? Like if you have people in our own community who came here legally and so have very anti-immigration, beliefs because they're like, the way me too I came, that's how you, and it's like nonsense, right? And then people who didn't come legally, some of whom are just kind of like, look, I'm just trying to get by. I'm not trying to make trouble. Whereas there are Latino activists who are like, they're here legally, they're writing books, they're like running around America, like giving speeches, which I'm like, that's ballsy because like, they'll just, like I just carry you and take you.
All right. We kind of have to cut it.
Yeah, no worries.
We're going for too long.
So, but the one thing I will, I'm not sure if you guys, because I had to jump on a meeting. I'm not sure you guys were talking about what's next. Did we have a conversation about what's next policy-wise in the U.S.?
I was trying to have that conversation, but y'all weren't listening.
I think it's super important that we have a conversation because what happened after Obama is everybody got complacent. Everybody let them do their thing. We trusted them.
But you know what I think? But I don't know what I think that is happening. We're doing the opposite now. We are not even allowing 1 or 2 days to even enjoy. Everybody's just fighting now.
There's a lot of work to get done.
This guy is dismantling the intelligence architecture. He's just been firing people in the last 1 hour.
But I think one last point is we're not enjoying this win because right now we're talking about what policy is next.
Yeah, but we're not even getting to the what next because instead of getting to that, we're fighting. So before we were relaxed, now it's fighting. Not that, guys, calm down. I like your approach. Your approach is the best one I've seen so far. Oga said he's going to do all these things on his website. Screen grab it if you want to screen grab it. Copy it. When he enters, we will start holding him to his feet
one
by
one.
I agree totally, but this whole fighting and stuff that we're doing is kind of productive. Like it doesn't feel like a win to some people anymore. He said he's going to do X, Y, Z. If you don't agree with what he says he's going to do, is a different case, right? If you don't agree with his policies or things he's planning to do, that's different. But if you fundamentally agree with a lot of what he's going to say or a good percentage, your job now is be like, okay, congratulations. I'm excited. I'm going to celebrate for her. This is all the things. Don't forget all the things you say you're going to do. It's on your website. We've screen grabbed everything. So we'll remind you. If anything outside of that is just, and that reason is why I think Republicans are thriving because they know how to win and they know how to enjoy victory and they know how to use power when they win.
So let's have that conversation. Well, hopefully we can have that conversation next time. Hopefully. I'll
maybe we'll give some time to let things play out. This one that he has fired everybody in defense. Let's see let's see what happens tomorrow. Okay. I'm sure.
Look, that man is gonna try to kill us all.
I'm still worried. I'm concerned, but I'm not scared. I'm concerned. It's concerning, but I'm not scared.
Yeah, this is America.
So thank you guys for coming. Thanks to everyone. We had a lot of people say thanks for coming. Justin, is there anything to add to close out? But thanks again to everyone that has paid has been with us. We've gone over 3 hours now. But thank you so much. That's a great conversation. Thanks, Maiwa, for joining. Thanks, Yomi. Maiwa, we'll resume our our talk on Twitter. Well, thanks, guys. Justin, close us out. Do you have anything?
Bye.
Hey, all right, guys. Bye.
Bye.
You guys stay vigilant. We're living. Some of us are living vicariously through all of this, so please stay vigilant. It's not over till it's over.
Justin, yeah, making me scared because now this is you.
You got your guns, Bella?
I will.
No, the issue is not.
Go ahead.
It's not about being scared. It's about you guys don't take your eyes off the ball. There's a tendency among Democrats to fight yourselves in house, and that's just what I was trying to point out. Why you
don't like that.
Why people are busy fighting? This guy that you're celebrating that you are beating is strategizing, and we know he has no. Yeah, doesn't have a moral compass. He's going to do anything and everything to stay in the White House. So maybe you all should just realize that it's not over till the fat lady sings.
I don't know. Either way. We talked about this last week. Like, the parties are so fundamentally different that it is easier for them to get a consensus because it's not as hard, right? Like our party and our side is a lot more.
I don't think they all agree. I think what unifies them the most is probably that abortion thing. And it's something
see, when you think about the very there's a very organic relationship between the Republican Party and the evangelicals and all of that.
Right.
And they have a very large surface area for engagement. Naturally, that makes them more united than Democrats. Like we said, Democrats being liberal means that everybody's doing their own thing. So is it centripetal forces pulling you people apart?
Right.
Because
like, Republicans don't believe Democrats are even Christians, which is always so funny to me because I'm like,
see, look
how?
at it.
They're like, we are the party of God, right? Like, how can you fight the party of God?
Look at it from this standpoint. You just beat an incumbent. It's very, very hard to beat an incumbent. You beat an incumbent soundly. Everybody should still right now. I should be joining.
But the thing is, Trump will not even let you enjoy it now.
Forget Trump. We all should still be partying. In fact, we should be doing this show from the club. We should be pointing. Do you know how hard it is to beat? Do you know how hard it is to beat an incumbent? And now everyone wants to fight. Hey,
let me ask you a question. And I hate to do this, but hey, if America were one of the countries in Africa, same situation, an election just ended. Your side is declaring numbers and saying we've won. The incumbent is saying one bow, and he's sacking intelligence. He's sacking intelligence tips. Will you be saying the things you're saying? Will this be your attitude? You'll be scared shitless.
That's one
angle. Now that's exactly what I'm saying to you.
And that's one angle. The scared shitless, they're not the same thing versus us internal fighting.
Oh God, this man shot tear gas at you people at the White House. So I don't know what you're talking about here.
Wait now, but that has nothing to do with Democrats and Democrats fighting each other.
No. I'm not talking about Democrats and Democrats. Okay, sorry. I shifted focus. My point is, you're a bit relaxed and settled in the idea of we've won. And you are discounting the disposition of the person that you've beaten. The person that you've beaten is telling you this thing is not over. You are moving on as if it's over. And I keep pulling you back to, okay, this guy never agreed to beat him.
So it's over and him never agree. That's two different things. It's over. He has lost the election. Him not agreeing. Him not agreeing does not mean that
are we still live?
We are live.
You can
take off. Yeah, you can go offline.